And I'm live, I think. So, hello and welcome, and to the stream, the 750 sub special stream, which is a manga tournament. There's actually going to be 2 manga tournaments. So yeah, just say hi if you can hear me. You can see everything, and hopefully you do. I'm just waiting for the chat. But yeah, basically this is 128 manga, and in the brackets, as you can see in the back here. And yeah, essentially we're gonna be pitting them against each other. This is the most popular manga I read according to Analyst. And Analyst, what it does is that it ranks based on how many readers have it on their list, either reading, completed, and planning, I think. And yeah, I got 777 subs, or I had 76 subs when I started, so I guess I got one new. Hello, Capri-san. Hope you enjoy your time here, and I think I'm gonna start. I don't know how many people are here, apparently 7. So hi everyone, and the first match is Elfen Lead versus Our Happy Hours. And you're gonna see a lot of weird matches throughout this this stream, I think. But the first one is against 2 seinen manga, both very dramatic manga, except one of them is super bloody. And I think the one I like here the most would be Our Happy Hours. I remember liking a lot Elfen Lied when I read it. I talked about it when I did the video with Doofy on his channel. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys should. Back when I read it, I basically binged everything. I really liked it, but I don't think I would like it as much nowadays. Hello, Cave. So yeah, I kind of want to see your guys' opinions as well on these matches. So if any of you have read both of these, which one do you guys prefer? Yeah, personally, I think I prefer Our Happy Hours. It's a bit more dramatic, it's a bit more serious than Elfen Lied. Though I remember Elfen Lied being a lot of drama as well, but not as fun. I think my camera needs to go a bit behind because it's a bit too close. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Our Happy Hour. Yo, Mamsie, how's it going? So Sankarea versus Slam Dunk. Yeah, this is not too much of a match if you've read both of them. Some of you may like Sankarea more, but I think most people would enjoy Slam Dunk more. Though, Sankarea is fun. I really enjoyed Sankarea more than I was expecting to enjoy an ecchi manga about zombies. Was really fun, especially the ending. I remember the ending being really good. Welcome back. Please rest a bit then. But yeah, Slam Dunk is, anyways, I'm not gonna say masterpiece because there's Vagabond. I haven't read Vagabond yet, but Slam Dunk is the only Inoue manga that I read, and it's really, really great. And I think a lot of people who've read it probably also enjoyed it a lot. So to me, this is a no-brainer. I'm kind of curious to see if any of you guys kind of enjoy Sankarea more. But Slam Dunk. Welcome, Silver. We're just starting the tournament. I probably should have waited a little bit for more people, but I kind of don't want this one to last 3 hours as the previous stream did. But yeah. Ichi 100% versus Akuno Hana. Um, hey Hinks, welcome. Um, so yeah, this is basically ecchi versus super dramatic romance. So I think, yeah, I think most people would like Akuno Hana more. But to me, I feel this is more of a preference if you prefer, your now normal ecchi arms, or if you prefer the more seinen-esque the more seinen-esque story of Flowers of Evil. Which, by the way, is not a seinen. I learned this not too long ago. It's actually shonen. But yeah, I think I would go, like Junk Dog said, with Flowers of Evil, honestly. Even though I really, really enjoy Ichigo 100%. Ichigo 100% is one of my favorite ecchi arms, one of my favorite Jump manga, actually. But Akuno Hana is just different. It's really good. Yeah, ecchi versus depression. Though if I remember, I don't remember, but I think Akuno Hana still had a little bit of ecchi. I may be wrong, but it's an Oshimi manga, so most likely it did. Yeah, we're gonna go with Flowers of Evil. And I think our first jump match, our first battle shonen, Shaman King versus Reborn. Rom-coms are way better than ecchi arms. Well, technically, I would say that ecchi arms also are rom-coms. Just, more perverted rom-coms. But yeah, I get what you mean. But yeah, between Reborn and Shaman King, to me, the obvious choice is Shaman King. This is one of those where we can actually compare both of them, because they're both from, same magazine. Not really the same era, because Shaman King came some years earlier, but from, the same genre as well. But yeah, to me, Shaman King just does everything better. Reborn is good. Reborn, to me, I really enjoy, I know most people don't, but I really enjoy the early chapters of Reborn, the gag ones. And I really enjoy, the later arcs as well. I think the arcs that weren't adapted into anime are actually really good. And actually, both of these have one thing in common now that I've noticed, which is the fact that both of these have my least favorite endings. So the original Shaman King has an ending that's really, really bad, which thankfully was rectified in the Kazenban edition. I think that's how it's called. And then Reborn has a really bad ending, in my opinion, which kind of ruins everything that the manga did to build up Tsuna. Just the last chapter just kind of really ruins it. So I don't like it as much. Is the Shaman King manga really good? I wasn't a fan of the anime adaptations. I think the manga should be faithful to the last adaptation. But I know, I really enjoyed Shaman King. I'm not sure if you don't like the anime, if you're also gonna like the manga, because I actually watched the anime of Shaman King when I was a kid, and I really liked it back then, so this also have some nostalgia factor to me. Okay, so Junk Dog says that the Shaman King manga is way better. Same as anime, but somehow it just works. Maybe. Again, I liked the anime when I was a kid. I don't remember too much about it. I remember the manga more, and the manga is really, really good. So, yeah. I'm gonna go with Shaman King. Okay, this is an unfair match. Tsubasa Chronicles versus Berserk. Tsubasa Chronicles was actually one of my very first manga, and one of my very first anime, and I think was my second manga ever that I read. So I have a soft spot for it, but looking back, it's not as good. I mean, it's an okay battle shonen. I still would recommend it, especially because you needed to read XXXHolic, which to me is the superior one of these two. But it's by Clamp, and Clamp does a lot of good stuff. But the other manga is Berserk, so it's not really a good match. Berserk will almost win, will always win, but yeah, it's very, very unfair. But yeah, Tsubasa Chronicles is good though. If you haven't read Tsubasa Chronicles and you're looking for a battle shonen, do check it out. And for another clamp manga, we have Chobits, which to me is the better clamp manga of these two, actually. Then we also have Detective Conan, which is Tsubasa of Sakura. I actually really like Sakura from Tsubasa Chronicles. I like Sakura more from Tsubasa Chronicles than I do from Card Capture Sakura. But yeah, I love Detective Conan, though the problem is I got kind of tired of it. Because, it's just so big. I think I read like 300 chapters, and then I had to stop. And I kind of want to go back to it because, especially playing recently the Ace Attorney games, it kind of reminds me of Detective Conan. I kind of wanted to go back to it because it was fun. And I think reading like a case one by one, not just binge the manga, will work better. And that's kind of what I want to do. But as of right now, actually, I think I'm going to go with Chobits. Personally, I think, it's just the better manga. I really like a lot of the topics that the manga tackles. It could use with less ecchi. It's not that it's very ecchi, just that the little ecchi that it does have, to me, really don't fit the actual narrative, the actual story, the actual style of the manga. But, yeah. I think I'm going to go with Chobits for now. But, when I eventually caught up with Detective Conan, maybe I would prefer Detective Conan. We'll see eventually. And another kind of unfair match, Fruits Basket versus Monster. And yeah, Monster to me is not my favorite Rosawa manga. I kind of like Billy Bat and kind of like 20th Century Boys more. But yeah, Fruits Basket is probably one of the best shoujo manga that I've read as well. And, I know the last season of the anime came out recently. And people were really loving it. And I think the second part of the manga is actually the best part of it as well. So Jungdog was saying might read Conan if it's similar to Ace Attorney. It's kind of a similar in the way that both are detective stories where they're kind of trying to solve, find the criminal. There's kind of like traditional detective stories in that regard. So if you like that of Ace Attorney, you probably like Detective Conan, though I still think Ace Attorney is better because the characters and the plot twists are just so insane that it always keeps you on your feet. So yeah. But yeah, Monster is clear of Fruits Basket. And I'm sorry because Fruits Basket is actually really, really good. But Monster is just one of the best manga out there. So Monster. Oh yeah. XXXHolic versus Bleach. And is getting a sequel too in the anime. Who's getting a sequel? Fruits Basket? Repetition of Monsters ending. I would need to read Monster again because it's been, I don't know, like 10 years? I think more than 10 years since I've read Monster. I still remember how it actually ends, as in the final scene, which I found interesting because it's not Tenma who actually, kills the monster, Johan. But I don't remember, I remember that there was an association between the guy who kills him and Johan, but I don't actually remember what it was. So, sorry. This one, Fruits Basket is getting a spin-off. I didn't know that. That's actually interesting. I might try to check it out. Yeah, I like XXXHolic more. To me, it's obvious that I like XXXHolic more. Even though, Bleach is one of those manga, that grew up with me, but I just really like Yuko, the main character, and she just basically sells me the anime, or sells me the manga, actually. And to me, this is the best that Clamp has done that I've read, which I've read some Clamp manga, and I think all of them are in this tournament, because all of them are actually kind of famous. But yeah, even though Bleach is one of the big three, it's one of those manga that stayed with me for a long time. I think 8 years or 9 years that I was reading Bleach, and in a certain moment was my favorite manga. Actually, when I first started reading manga, Bleach was my favorite. I just kind of have to go with XXXHolic, and I'm sorry for Bleach fans, but yeah. One Piece versus Beck. I like Beck. This is I like music, especially like rock music, and when I was a teen, that's all I listened was 90s rock music. So Beck really talks to me in that regard, because it is, for those that don't know, it's about a band in the 90s or the early 2000s. I don't actually remember. I think it's from the early 2000s, but it's kind of like this traditional, alternative rock band, trying to grow as a band, and trying to, facing the problems that a growing band would face in that time. So it's really, really good. And if you haven't checked Beck, you should. But One Piece is One Piece. It's one of the best manga that I've read. And probably one of the most important manga to me, also. And you guys can check the box sets above, so you can see that I like One Piece, and there's actually a lot of like figures of Luffy and the Straw Hats here. So and I have a Ace figure and a Piranha figure, and I just have so much One Piece stuff around that it has to be One Piece. There's no other way that Beck would win this. Wish that Beck anime would continue. Actually, would like as well. I remember that I watched a little bit of the anime of Beck back when I watched anime, which was a long time ago, but it was a good anime. And the thing that it had over the manga is that you could hear the songs that they were writing, which was really, really good. I have to go with Beck, says things, and yeah, I understand. I think some people will probably like Beck more. I know that Doofy also likes Beck more, but yeah, to me it has to be One Piece. Ghost in the Shell versus Soul Eater. So actually, I made let me check here. I made a poll. I'm gonna end it, which is which of these you guys would think that will last longer in this tournament, and you guys said JJK, which with the options were JJK, JoJo, and Ghost in the Shell, because these I think are the three most popular manga that I don't like. So I was kind of curious. So there was, I think, one vote or some votes for Ghost in the Shell, but it was the one that had less votes. And you're right, because it's gonna be the first to be kicked out, because the opponent is Soul Eater, and Soul Eater is really, really great. Battle manga. I haven't read Fire Force, which is by the same mangaka. Some people don't like Fire Force. I don't think I'm gonna like Fire Force as much as I like Soul Eater, but Soul Eater is really great. I think, especially when it comes to the battles and the paneling and the art style, it just is so good. It may have a little bit too much ecchi, which can annoy some people, especially at the start of the manga. It can annoy some people, but yeah. There's something blocking my chat. Anime wise, Ghost in the Shell. So yeah, I haven't watched the anime of Ghost in the Shell. I think people say that the anime is better than the manga. The manga isn't that good. the manga is really, really boring in my opinion. Just it's full of very boring world building that is told more so via, giant chunks of dialogue than anything else. And it takes almost an hour to read like a chapter, which takes more than a minute to read one single page. And it would be okay if the information if it was fun, but it really isn't. So, Ghost in the Shell to me just it's not good. Five Force is pretty good. Okubo is roasting the readers in the latest chapters. Okay, I'm kind of curious because I've seen some chapters, or I've seen some pages of recent Fire Force, and I am curious to check it out. Seen the anime Soul Eater, if I've seen I would have gone Ghost in the Shell. Okay, so I know that Soul Eater, the anime, has a different ending because it was it ended before the manga did. So they have an original only ending. So I'm not sure if it's as good as the manga. I'm assuming it is not. Pluto versus Gun, which for those that don't know what Gun is, it's Battle Angel Alita. And to me, this is actually a more tied match than I think people probably would have think, especially because, Urasawa is one of my favorite mangaka. And Pluto is, is one of his most famous, not necessarily one of my favorite works from his. But Alita is one of manga that I read recently that was actually pretty good. Which I don't know which to choose. I'm kind of curious to see which is your guys' opinions on it. I think I might still go with Pluto, honestly. But the world of Alita is really great. I haven't read the sequels. I've only read the first manga and a spin-off of the first manga, which the spin-off was actually really good. It's like side stories, and it had a couple, like 2 or 3 side stories that was really, really great. Go with Pluto. Yeah, I probably will go to Pluto. To me, Pluto isn't the best Urasawa manga. It's shorter. It's not as complex as the others. It's not as complex as like 20th Century Boys or or Monster or Billibat. But it's a really solid manga nonetheless. And yeah, the Pluto anime got announced years ago. It's still not released yet. I think it's going to be released next year, I think. I'm gonna go with Pluto. Sorry, but Alita is really good. No, Yotsuba versus Lavina. So if you guys know me, Lavina is my first manga that I finished. And it's a manga that's really, really special. It's one of my favorite manga of all time. There's just like very, very few manga that I put above it. And even the ones that I put above it, I'm not necessarily sure that I like them more in emotional level, that they mean more to me than Lavina does. I think the only one that it probably does is One Piece. And it goes against Yotsuba, which Yotsuba is just a fantastic manga that I think I'm not going to say that everyone loves because it really isn't, as edgy as some people probably would like. And, when I say it isn't as edgy, I mean it's the opposite of edgy. It's super cute. It's super adorable. It's about a child doing child things. But it's really funny and it's really cute, and Yotsuba is just one of the best characters I think out there. And to me, if you don't like Yotsuba, you don't have a heart. People just need to like Yotsuba. It's just that cute. But I have to go with Lavina. I just do. Just to check out YouTube. You should check out YouTube. I think the only problem with YouTube is that the chapters don't come out often enough, but it's also a manga that really doesn't need to be binged. It doesn't really have a story to it. You can just pick up any chapter and read it. So check it out. Then Kiseju or Parasyte. and versus 20th Century Boys. And I think there's probably going to be a Urasawa versus Urasawa somewhere in this tournament. And to me, this is going to go with 20th Century Boys. I think it was one of the first seinen, if it wasn't the first seinen that I've read, and to me still one of the best Urasawa manga. Which, I love Urasawa. I love most of his manga. So to say that this one is the best, if not the best, I think it's tied with Billy Bat. But I think overall, more and more I've been looking back, and I think overall, 20th Century Boys is indeed my favorite, especially because it was the first. And it was such a special story, And Parasyte, I like it. I don't like it as much as other people do. I think it's a fair horror manga, but it's not as tense. It's not as horrific. It's not as dark as I'd like a horror manga to be. So I don't enjoy it as much as other people do. I think it's still good. I think it's still a solid horror manga. I think it's still a solid manga in general. But yeah, 20th Century Boys here. Just give me a second, because something is blocking the chat. Actually, I can do. Okay. Person I've choose Parasyte. 20th Century Boys is probably my least favorite Urasawa work. Oh, okay, that's different. To me, I really love 20th Century Boys. I'm kind of curious to see why it is your least favorite. But yeah, I personally really like it. Hikaru no Go versus Fullmetal Alchemist. So Hikaru no Go, for those that don't know, is a Go manga from the artist behind Death Note. Takeshi Obata. And it's a solid manga. I think it was his most popular manga before Death Note, and I think there's still a lot of people probably enjoy Hikaru no Go more than Death Note. To me, they're honestly kind of at the same level. But Fullmetal Alchemist, on the other hand, is just leagues above, because it's one of the best battle shonens out there. Always has been. The ending, to me, is still one of my favorite endings in manga. I never, or if I've seen the ending in the anime, I don't really remember. I probably have. But yeah, I was following FMA Weekly when it ended. It was such a special event to read that final chapter. Those 100 pages of that final chapter was really amazing, and it's really one that stuck with me even 12 years later, because I think the manga ended in 2009 or in 2010. But yeah, to me, FMA is it's not the best manga out there. I don't think it breaches the top 10 to me, but it's still a 10 out of 10 overall. So yeah, as much as I like FMA, it's obviously Hikaru no Go, even with that bad ending. I don't actually remember the ending of Hikaru no Go. I think it got cancelled or rushed, I think. I know that Axel really hates the ending. If he was here, he's probably trashing it. But yeah, personally, me, I'm gonna have to go with FMA. Gintama versus Eyeshield 21. I do have to say that I've only read the first 100 chapters of Gintama. I know there's probably a lot of Gintama fans. I know there's a lot of Gintama fans that I talk to and that view my channel. So I'm not sure how many of those are in the stream right now. But I've only read like the first 100 chapters. I've enjoyed it. I was told that I wasn't going to like these first 100 chapters. But as a fan of gag manga, and as a big fan of meta humor and fourth wall breaking jokes. I've been enjoying Gintama. I've been enjoying the manga. I've been enjoying the jokes. I've been enjoying the characters. I think the only problem is that it really is such a dense manga, and it takes such a while to read that sometimes I read a chapter and it feels like I read 10. So even though I've enjoyed that chapter, I kind of don't want to read much more. So I just read like 1-2 chapters like in a row. So that's why it's been such a slow burn throughout the chapters. They kind of hope that the later chapters aren't as dense because it's 700 chapters. I want to get in Gintama, but I'm still trying to decide between manga or anime. So most people say anime. I'm just I'm the manga guy, so I'm reading manga. So, but most people say that the anime of Gintama is better. I have to choose Eyeshield kind of early on Gintama still, but probably it'll overcome Eyeshield. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well, Junk Dog. It's right now Eyeshield to me is the best. Is the best out of these two, and it's one of my favorite sports manga. I kind of like Eyeshield more than I like IQ, and more than I like Slam Dunk. And that has a lot to do with the character, which I don't remember the name, but this guy that is hidden here, which is one of my favorite characters, and I'm really angry that I don't remember his name because his in terms of like male characters, it's probably just behind Olga from Beelzebub and Denji from Chainsaw Man in terms of like favorite characters. So I'm gonna go with Eyeshield. If you're looking for a sports manga, you guys should check out Eyeshield. It's drawn by Murata, which does One Punch Man. It's written by Inagaki, which does Dr. Stone. So this is really a really special duo that was working on this. So it's a really, really good manga. The ending is a little bit rushed as well. It's not really rushed. It's more of a ends abruptly. It's very open-ended, and I didn't enjoy that a lot, and no, a lot of people didn't either. Iruma, thank you. Planets versus Hellsing. So Planets, for those that don't know, which I assume most of you guys do, it's by the guy who does Villain Saga. Old Murata drawings, though. Still, old Murata drawings were really special. They weren't as good as One Punch Man, because he has evolved since then. And Eyeshield has 15 years? So yeah, it's normal that, he draws better now, but even back then, man, his drawings were better than most people. There still are. So, I don't remember a lot of planets, so just to let you guys remember, because it's a 2-volume manga that I read in a row before Villain Saga, I think, even. And Hellsing I read recently, and it's fun. It's one of those manga that I was told about for years. It's one of the first anime that I remember hearing about, and then I only actually checked it out recently. But it's one of those really classic seinen manga that you guys should check out, because especially if you like gore and violence and Nazis and zombies, it somehow has everything of that in that story. I didn't like as much as I thought I was gonna like it, but yeah, I think overall, from what I remember, I think I like Planets more. Just that I don't remember as much as I do Hellsing, but yeah. Film psychological versus pure action. Yeah, Hellsing is very much just pure action. The story is there and it's decent, but it's more of a vehicle for really cool action scenes featuring vampires versus Nazis, which I think, a lot of people will enjoy. It's not really refined, but it's not supposed to be. I might go with Planets. I'm not sure if you guys wanna help decide this one. because I'm a little bit undecided on this one. But if you guys don't, I'm gonna go with planets. I'm not sure how slow the stream is behind the chat, but I'm assuming it is for a little bit. And I'm gonna need to drink something in a little bit as well, but yeah, okay, I'm gonna go with planets. Oh, okay, so this is deciding this side. Alright, okay. So we're gonna do manga that we've talked about. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Slam Dunk with this one. I don't think a lot of people will argue with planets. Okay, so Junko will also go with planets. Yeah, Slam Dunk versus Our Happy Hours. A very different manga, but Slam Dunk is Slam Dunk, and especially because I don't remember Our Happy Hours that well, and I think if I was to read it again, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. Whereas Slam Dunk is just, I've read it recently, like a year ago, I think, or 2 years ago. I don't actually remember, but yeah, Slam Dunk. This one is a little bit harder. Akuno Hana versus Shaman King. Battle Shonen versus Very Dark Seinen. I think a lot of people would go with Akuno Hana. It's kind of hard. I don't remember Akuno Hana too much. I remember more what I felt about Akuno Hana, which I really liked it. I remember it being really dark, and the relationship between the two main characters was really interesting, and it kind of reminded me of Sundame, which I do remember more. I think that's because Akuno Hana just reads so fast. Ashimi manga in general just reads so fast. And when you read, all of like 10 or 11 volumes in 4 hours, 10 years later, you're not going to remember anything. It hasn't been 10 years. It has been like, 6 or something. So yeah. Versus Shaman King, which I also read more or less around the same time, but I can't remember it more. The thing about Shaman King that I really like was the villain, How, which is one of my favorite Battle Shonen villains. It was so every time he was on screen, you can feel the tension, which is something I really like. And I kind of want to go with Shaman King on this one. I really kind of want to go with Shaman King. I know some people probably will piss off some people because Akuno Hana is such a loved manga. And Shaman King, I was expecting the anime to really kick off the popularity again. But I feel like the hype to the anime helped the manga be more popular than the actual anime. I think when the anime dropped, I didn't see a lot of people watching it and really talking about it. But I'm still gonna go with Shaman King. Conan, because the ending was amazing. Yeah, I don't actually remember the ending of Akuno Hana, which I wish I did, and I probably am gonna buy the physicals and reread it. I think the complete editions or whatever it's called. I'm probably gonna buy those eventually. I should finish the collections that I do have right now, which is Doro, which is like 23 volumes. So yeah, maybe after that I grab Akuno Hana. Berserk versus Chobits. It's Berserk. Again, Chobits really good. Really has such a really cool story, and has a lot of good themes about humans versus technology, and artificial intelligence in a way that is kind of different from is artificial intelligence going to kill us all kind of questions. It is a lot of topics that were tackled in the movie Her. If you guys have seen that one, they kind of are similar in that it is about like a man who falls in love with a machine, and how ethical that is, and how human that machine is. And I really like the way that Chobits tackle those themes. But Berserk, Monster versus XXXHolic. This is also another unfair one. I kind of want to see Clamp versus Clamp. I kind of want to do an XXXHolic versus Chobits match. That would be fun. Which, by the way, XXXHolic would win because, again, it is my favorite Clamp manga. But yeah, against Monster, it is unfair again. Then Monster wins. Though not by as much as people may think. To me, XXXHolic is really, really just among one of my favorites. Probably not top 10, which Berserk is and Monster is, but like top 25 manga, XXXHolic would be there. One Piece versus Soul Eater. Yeah. So I'm noticing that this is there's gonna be a lot of like 10 out of 10s fighting in the top tiers in that segment, which it's probably gonna let a lot of interesting results on the second side of the manga to slip through the cracks. But One Piece versus Soul Eater, Soul Eater is great, but One Piece is greater, so I'm not gonna dwell too much on it. Pluto versus Lavina. Yeah, I'm sorry about this one. I am sorry about this one because Lavina, again, it's one that's gonna win. To me, my heart's gonna win. If it was versus Monster, or if it was versus 20th Century Boys, or versus Billy Bat, I probably would choose, or probably would ponder a little bit more into choosing it over Lavina, because I kind of like those more. But Pluto just is that one Ursal manga that to me just isn't as high. It's really good, it's great, but it isn't as high as the others, and all the others to me are a 10 out of 10. Lavina to me is a 10 out of 10. Pluto to me is a 9 out of 10. So Lavina wins. Yeah, if you know me, you will understand it. If you don't, you're confused. But I'm gonna just stop a little bit here because 20th Century Boys versus Fullmetal Alchemist is a lot to think about, and I'm gonna get something to drink so you guys can discuss a little bit on the chat. So because I'm actually also curious to see which of these you guys prefer, because I don't know which one to choose. Okay, so just 1 second. I'm back. Generally I get a beer, but since there was no cold beer, I got yogurts. Because I don't drink water. Berserk vs. Monster will be the semi-final bracket. Yeah, that might be possible, depending on One Piece. One Piece just got Grand Line enjoying adventure. Lavino, this just got on the Grand Line. Grand Line is really when it starts getting really good. Continue Boys, but FMAB is a classic. The obvious answer is the F adaptation called The Bible. The Bible. I haven't read 20th Century Boys, so I've got to go with FMA. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure. Rather, I think I am. I think I'm gonna go with 20th Century Boys. Fullmetal Alchemist just. This is a battle of two 10 out of 10s to me. But 20th Century Boys just is really that special manga to me, and Fullmetal is too in a lot of ways, but I gotta go 20th Century Boys. Eyeshield 21 versus Planets. I've gotta go with 20th Century Boys. I've gotta go with Eyeshield. I mean, just because I really like Eyeshield. I think it has a spot in my heart. And it's one of my favorite sports manga. It's my favorite sports manga. Slam Dunk is really close. IQ is a little bit below. Ping Pong is amazing. But Eyeshield 21, maybe because it was my favorite manga. Maybe because it was my first sports manga. But yeah, to me, it is my favorite sports. Is 20th Century Boys that good? To me, it is, again, one of the best Kurosawa manga. I like it more than I like Monster, to be honest. Just because I think the characters of 20th Century Boys and the mystery of 20th Century Boys is more interesting. Whereas, Johan is the better villain. Friend is also a really cool villain. It's almost there. And just, to me, it feels like it has a little bit more heart. It has a little bit more emotion to 20th Century Boys, which I like more. Now, Monster to me is the best in terms of actual, just pure raw storyline. And, to me, Monster is kind of like the perfect story in terms of not having any flaws, or not having any plot holes, not having any structural flaws. To me, Monster is perfect in that regard, but 20th Century Boys just had a little bit to it that I like more. Strong teams and really Planet second half of the anime is the best thing in the series, to be honest. Strong teams and really well put together. Yeah, the thing is, I don't remember Planets too much, which it's a shame. I couldn't reread all of the manga that were on this list for this stream. Sorry about that. There's a lot of them that I actually don't remember. Slam Dunk easy. I wouldn't say easy, but I might go Slam Dunk. Just because, to me, these are kind of reverse, where both of them are really solid. But to me, Shaman King is real solid for most of its duration, and then at the end it kind of fails a little bit. Even with the original ending is really, really horrible. But the revised ending, it's good, but it's still kind of falls a little bit. Slam Dunk, in my opinion, the final game is easily the best thing in Slam Dunk. Everything up to it is solid, and I really like the character progression, the character growth of the main character. But it's that final match that really makes Slam Dunk such a great manga, at least in my opinion. Then I'm excited for the Slam Dunk movie, since Shinmei will be directing it. I'm actually really excited for Slam Dunk movie as well. I'm probably gonna check it out. Monster is amazing, but that ending was still questionable to me, not gonna lie. So to me, Monster, from what I remember, has one of the best endings of Kurosawa, because Kurosawa doesn't really have really strong endings. I think Pluto is also another one that really does have a good ending to it, but neither of them are the best ending. I think 20th Century Boys, the ending itself is probably the worst part of it. Hulala, says Vignesh. I know who you are, just because of that hulala. I'm gonna go with Slam Dunk. This is a good one. This is final material. Berserk versus Monster. Now we're talking. I don't know, man. In terms of Yeah. I like Kurosawa more in general, over Miura, even though Miura is fantastic. Rest in peace. But Kurosawa, just the fact that he does so many manga, they're really amazing. It's just Berserk really. This is such an art one. Yeah, it's latest time, very much so. But I think I'm gonna go with Berserk. And to me, the Golden Age is just such an amazing, arc. Griffith and Guts, and the Eclipse. Just it's such an amazing manga, and everything. Like, I know people really just talk about that when it comes to Berserk, but in my opinion, even the things that come after that are really, really great. And it's been a while since I've read Berserk, as in the recent chapters, because I'm just trying to buy the physicals now and reread it. And I'm currently in the middle of the second deluxe edition. So I just started the Golden Age again. But even the things that come after, the ones that I've read, were just so great. They weren't as great, but they were fantastic. Monster, again, it's one of those that I think it's perfect in terms of the storyline. Doesn't have any plot holes. Every little thing in the manga matters, which I think is amazing. Every little panel, every little character, every little line, just so important to the overall narrative. And it's not in a way that it is, overwhelming. It kind of reminds me of, again, it's gonna sound like kind of stupid. It kind of reminds me of what I feel when I'm playing Ace Attorney, which every little detail I kind of know that is going to be important for the narrative, and I know it's going to pay off later. And it's a different kind of story. It's a more serious kind of story, of course, but in Monster, that's kind of the same thing. Where everything it's going to pay off later, even if you don't get why, even if you don't understand exactly how. It's going to pay off in the ending. It's just such a special manga in that regard, and everything from Urasawa does that in some ways, but I think Monster is the one that does that better. Oh. I'm gonna go with Berserk. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Berserk. God damn it. Yeah, so this this is the one that for everyone else is gonna be obvious, right? One Piece versus Lavina. Both of them are really super special to me. Both of them are the most important manga to me. Growing up, especially like in my early teens when I was just finding out about anime, and even back when I was years later when I was like going into some bad moments. I went back to these. Well, I went back to Lavina. One Piece was already there, but it is such a hard choice to make for me. And you guys are saying Lavina, obviously, losing, of course. But I think, when I think about which is the best manga, I think the One Piece is obviously the best manga. And when I think of which is special, both of them are really special, so One Piece kind of has the edge on that one. So I'm going to vote One Piece. Just so nostalgic about the Berserk said, this is completely arbitrary, but I believe Berserk simply has an edge in terms of what is accomplished as dark fantasy and how it influenced the landscape of the medium. I'm gonna say yeah, kinda. I think one of the things that I like about Berserk is the dark fantasy. Is the way, like even the gore, the edge, the darkness. I like the way that is done because it's not. It has the edge. It is dark, but it, to me, isn't edgy in the sense of like, the like teenager edgy, kinds of things like Future Diary or don't remember the Japanese name, but the Future Diary, and things like that. It is just such a different thing. And it's done so well that it only, in my opinion, kind of like Villain Saga kind of makes me feel the same way, which, King Mamsi just mentioned. To me, those are kind of hand in hand. One Piece. 20th Century Boys versus Eyeshield 21. So I've said a lot about Eyeshield 21, how much I like it. But it's 20th Century Boys, sorry. Sorry, I'm just gonna finish. I need voice. I'm still in the first tier. God damn it. I think again, if Berserk won against Monster, Berserk is gonna win against Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk is great. Maybe Vagabond would be a better, match against Berserk. I never read Vagabond, so I don't know. But in terms of Slam Dunk versus Berserk. Then One Piece versus 20th Century Boys. 20 versus 21. Yeah. I didn't notice that, but yes. 21 should have won. It's the biggest number. One Piece versus 20th Century Boys. To me, this is the story that is more well written in 20th Century Boys. Which One Piece is, fantastic. World building is top tier. But then it's, to me, One Piece, the thing that it has over 20th Century Boys, which again 20th Century Boys had over Monster, but One Piece has over 20th Century Boys, is the characters, the emotion, the ride, the adventure, which is just a big part of One Piece. Just that adventure, that world, which we, go through and learn little by little, and. To me, that kind of makes it have the edge over 20th Century Boys in terms of which is its most special manga, which, again, 20th Century Boys was, but, as well, but, yeah, One Piece. And I think all of Urasawa was eliminated. Oh, okay, so this is a semifinal. Berserk versus One Piece. And this is a great semifinal. I think this is going to be the best semifinal of the tournament. Shonen versus Seinen. Dark versus Light. I'm kind of curious as well as which of these two you guys prefer. Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to prefer Berserk, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to prefer One Piece. This really depends on what kind of person you are, and probably what manga you read first, probably at what space you are in life right now. To me, right now, I have to go with One Piece, and more so than quality. The thing is, I stopped reading Berserk. And of course, the hiatus has a lot to do with that. That when I stopped reading manga, because I did stop reading manga, Berserk was already on hiatus, so it was so much easier to just forget to go back to those chapters. Whereas One Piece kept coming out week after week after week, and sometimes it has breaks, but for the most part, it's always there. So. It is a manga that I never stopped reading. It is a manga that's always been there for me. It was the first manga that I started reading, and it's the only manga that I never, even out of the ongoings, it's the one manga that I never stopped reading. So I'm gonna go with One Piece. And we start with brand new manga. And this is the second. Again, there's a complete other tournament here, which is the one that has all the JoJo's and Pun Pun. So we're gonna say a little bit here. The first hour is done, so we're gonna try to speed a little bit through this. But I think the most interesting ones probably worth over there. There's some here that are interesting, but that one was stacked full of really hard decisions. Bachman versus Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. So for those that don't know, this Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is a battle shonen that is really, really underrated. It is kind of different from other battle shonens. It's not really focused too much on the fights themselves, but it's still a battle shonen, and I think it's one of those battle shonen. Actually, it's Young King Comics, so it might be a seinen. I don't think it is a seinen. But it is one of those battle manga that just are really underrated. More people should check it out if you haven't. This guy also has another manga called Spirit Circle, which is also in this list, and it's also really good. I haven't read the chat, sorry. It's no sense to read. OP. Old Berserk anime is amazing. I actually have a friend, one of my best friends, has seen the Berserk anime, the old one, and he said it's really good. Dortoro will win the side anime, probably. We'll see. It's seinen. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know it was seinen. It's not a battle shonen. Ah, pop. Yeah, demographics. But yeah, it is very much like a battle shonen. So if you're looking for one, check this one out. I'm probably gonna go to Bachman though. To me, Bachman is my favorite Obaya Nobara manga. I haven't read Platinum Man still. I plan to eventually, but I like Bachman more than Death Note, which, by the way, Death Note isn't in this list because I've only seen the anime. I have this here, the first volume of the Black Edition in Portuguese, because they started coming out in Portuguese, so I decided to grab it to actually read the manga for the first time, but I haven't yet. But Bachman is just great. It's a manga that I've read twice. I have the box sets above. And it's such, that's some problems. I think the biggest problem Bachman has is more so the way it depicts women, which is not it's not a thing that I complain a lot, especially when I see a lot of people complain like Naruto and things like that. Generally I don't, but in Bachman, the first couple of volumes do it in such a way that I feel like is really detrimental to the actual story it's trying to tell as well. So to me, that is really the worst part of Bachman. Everything else, like the characters, and once the manga really gets start talking about manga, it is really, really fun. And I have a full review on it, so check that video out. I also have an analyst review, which is the exact same thing, the exact same text, and it's actually my first review, or my second review that I've ever made, so yeah, check it out. This is Nijigahara Holograph, I think, right? I think this is Nijigahara Holograph. And then I don't remember which one this is, which sucks. Nijigahara Holograph versus Medaka Box. Very different manga. Shameless plug. It's in my channel. You are watching my channel, so I'm sorry. I should be able to plug my channel. Yeah, this is seinen versus shonen. I like Medaka Box more, because the middle arcs of Medaka Box are really amazing. They are some of my favorite manga or arcs in Battle Shonen, and I think if you like Battle Shonen, you should check it out. Where is Nijigahara Holograph? I like it. I like Asano. Asano is one of my favorite mangaka, but it's also not one of his best. To me, it is better than What a Wonderful World. It feels like an upgrade to it. It feels kind of like a step towards what eventually would be Goodnight Punpun. But, it's not as good as Asano's best works. It's not as good as Dead of Demons, not as good as Solanine, it's not as good as as Punpun. So I'm gonna have to go with Medaka. And the final Urasawa manga in this list, I think, the Soul Survivor versus the Shira no Jo, which is a really, really great manga. It's one of my favorite. It is my favorite like old manga in terms of, like, if we're counting like manga up to the 80s. This is probably my favorite. I don't think I've read any manga from the 60s, 70s, or even 50s and 40s that is as good as the Shira no Jo. And Shira no Jo really made me look at old manga in a different way, because the ones that I read before it, I really didn't like it as much. So Shira no Jo just kind of like completely showed me a different way. It's such a great battle sports manga as well. It really defined a lot of things that you would see in, especially Slam Dunk. If you like Slam Dunk, I think there's a lot of it to see in Shira no Jo, more so in terms of like how the characters grow, how the characters evolve throughout the manga, how he learns to love boxing. So if you like, again, Slam Dunk, Ping Pong, the sports manga, they're more about the character growth. Shira no Jo is amazing. You're gonna love it. Billy Bat, on the other hand, is actually probably my favorite Urasawa manga, which I mentioned before in this stream. It's just the most complex one. It's the most ambitious one, I think, and it's really interesting to see like so many elements of real life, of history, implemented in this story, and how Urasawa manages to make it all connect. I don't know what the monkey means. Does it mean that the stream is going down? Is it means that my brain is going down? Because yes, it is. Yeah, I like Billy Bat a lot. I really like it a lot. So I don't know what the monkey means. I'm gonna ask you in the chat. In case you aren't listening to me, which I think you do, because I'm looking at the fucking stream. I don't know which one this one is, then. Oh, this is a girl on the shore. Right, versus Good Ending, okay. So, I don't actually remember anything from A Girl on the Shore. But I really like Good Ending. It's Good Ending is by the same mangaka as Monkey. Okay. I don't know. Good Ending is by the same mangaka as Domestic Girlfriend, which a lot of people hate. I haven't read it, but Good Ending. Refreshing, fix it. Okay. Maybe it froze. I don't know. Good Ending is really good at rom-com. It's really ecchi, so be aware. But it's really interesting. It's really good. It's one of my favorite rom-coms, actually. And I'm kind of curious why. Rather, I'm not curious why Damka is hated as much, because I kind of get why. Because I know a little bit of the topics that are mentioned. And yeah, I can understand why people hate it. But Good Ending is not. It's not about any weird relationships. It's very much about students and how they, school romance essentially. But to me, it's really interesting because it has the guy falling in love with a girl, and so the good ending supposedly is him staying with that girl that he falls in love with first, but then there's this girl in the cover that's just trying to help him, and then things evolve to an harem kinda, but it's a very interesting harem in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with good ending because I don't really remember anything from A Girl in the Shore, except that there's a lot of middle school sex. K-On! Versus I Am a Hero. Yeah, it's plot twist. The plot twist is that the good ending is actually bad. I'm gonna go with I Am a Hero easily. I haven't finished I Am a Hero, but I don't like K-On! I think K-On! Is very boring. I think K-On! Doesn't work very much as a 4 coma. I think it would work better if it wasn't. Better than Domicano. I haven't read Domicano, so I don't know. I hope it is because it's really good. So if it's worse, that means that Domicano is better. That means that I will love Domicano. So that. But yeah, I find the characters are okay. I don't really hate K-On! I just don't like K-On!. Which I was hoping to like it because it's a music manga, but just a lot of the jokes aren't funny, and it's a 4 coma, and it shouldn't have been. That is my assessment of K-On!. Then that's probably why the anime is better according to everyone else. Haha! Fist of North Star versus Dorwedoro. So if you know me, someone clip this. Okay. So if you know me, you know that which one's gonna win. Which is the Riddler. I'm trying to read the chat. Sorry if I stop. My brain just got Does have good music. I haven't seen the anime of K-On!, so I don't know if it has good music or not. Some people tell me it does. That's my favorite rom-com. That's gonna be Lavina. That's my favorite rom-com. Which is the Nechiarum, but to me they are kind of the same. If we're not considering anything that is ecchi, Nisekoi. If we're not considering anything that is Arum, I don't know. I would have to see. Yeah, Dororo is going to win this one. But just to talk a little bit about Fist of North Star, which I've read recently, and it's really great. It's reading this, I could see where JoJo, like the first JoJo, came from, what things they were trying to bring in, what things they're trying to implement. But Fist of North Star just works so much better than JoJo, at least like the early JoJos. Fist of North Star just so much better. The art is better, the story is better, the characters are better. Oh my god, it's like, this is what I thought JoJo was gonna be like. And it wasn't. So yeah, just, to me, it's one of the best old manga. It's one of the best Shonen Jump, like all these that I've read so far. Kenshiro is amazing. I want him to be my dad. But Dororo is just my favorite manga overall. It's just the story, the characters, the art, the comedy, the horror, the mix of everything. It's just so much. It's great. It's like if a manga was written specifically for me in every single regard. That's Dororo. And the only thing that comes close to it in that style is Die Dark, which I've just read the first volume last week, and it just feels like I'm going back in Dororo again. I really, really love it. But yeah, Dororo. Camera quality was so bad I had streamed at 400p. Okay, I bought a decent camera. It was like $50, so should have better quality than 480p. Keon Annie has nice OPZs. I don't remember music to show proper though. Better as an anime for sure, but I don't particularly love it. The manga blows. There we go. Maybe part 1, but that's better than the other parts, so especially 75. So I like Fist of North Star more than part 5. I haven't read part 7 to have an opinion on it. I don't like it more than part 4. I think part 4 is better than Face of an Arsar, at least. Nisekoi versus Anonymous Anonymous, or whatever it is called. So this is a manhwa, the only manhwa on this list, because it's also the only manhwa I've read, I think. Which is great. It reminds me a little bit of Pun Pun in the topics that it tackles. Of course, it's not nearly as good as Pun Pun, but it does remind me some of the topics. I feel like Pun Pun, if you want to see another manga tackle similar things, check it out. I have that mentality that it's not going to be as good. But yeah, it has a little nice imagery as well, which I like. Nisekoi is a manga that I really, really love. Has a lot of problems, which I fully admit has a lot of goddamn problems. One of them is that it has a lot of filler, so to speak, in the manga, which is technically is not filler because it's in the manga. But it has a lot of arcs that don't go nowhere. It has a lot of moments that kind of revert other moments. And this manga at the moment, like when Nisekoi is at its best, it's one of my all-time favorite manga. Overall, it's one of my all-time favorite manga overall. It's one of my all-time favorite ecchi. It's not ecchi, but it's all one of my all-time favorite rom-coms. But there's so much in it that kind of drags it down. That annoys me so much because Nisekoi has the potential to be so much better than it actually is. With that said, I still like Nisekoi more than I like Anamanasin. So I'm voting Nisekoi. Okay, Emanon versus The God's Will. Kamisama no Yutori. Part 1. I don't remember if I put part 2 in here, which is important because part 2 is fairly better than part 1. So if I'm going to count part 2 as this manga, then it's still going to lose, but it has a little bit more of a chance. But honestly, I didn't mind the filler in Nisekoi, but yeah, I could have done without some of it though. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not that it completely kills the manga. It's just that if it didn't have a lot of it, I'm not saying like all of it, but there's a lot of things that could have not done. There's a lot of things that revert Nisekoi back. I remember in particular one arc that is about I think it was Shitoge having blue eyes, and then the girls of promise having brown eyes. So Shitoge or Shitoge or whatever she's called couldn't possibly be that girl. And then at the end of that arc, you learn that she actually had brown eyes as a kid. So it basically kills the entire purpose of that entire arc. We just went back to the arc, to what was going on before the arc happened. So I think there should have been more things that were prominent in the manga, if that makes sense. Yes, I'm going to choose the manga with my channel avatar, for sure. But again, I don't remember if part 2 is on the tier list or not. I don't think it is. Part 2 of Kamisama no Yutori is great. It's the best that came. If you want to read the manga that just kind of like turn off your brain, especially for Halloween, because we're getting into October, you really need to check it out. It's so great. It's so fun. I really love it. But Emanon, I've talked about it on my channel. Recently, my most viewed video is a little bit on Emanon at the end, which from the retention graph, I can assume nobody watched it, but I really love Emanon a lot. It is my avatar, it is my favorite character, and it is the manga that I've read the most. So, yeah. Yep. Oh, there's JoJo that slipped past here. IQ versus JoJo's Part 2. I think. I'm gonna say, yeah, it's Joseph. I like IQ. IQ is a. I didn't mind the plot point, to be honest, but my bigger issue was how Raku and Ono forget their promise, but then have a crush during high school. I get that, but I kind of really like I like Raku and Onodeра's relationship throughout the entirety of Nisekoi. I was an Onodera fan, so yeah. I'm probably gonna really pick the one that is not a not take, because generally when I get to pick a manga versus JoJo, I generally pick the other manga. But I really like part 2. I really like Joseph. But IQ though. So let me think about this, because I actually think I rated IQ higher than part 2, and that has to do a lot with the fact that I think part 2 brings a lot of the problems that part 1 still had, which is the dialogues, the art style, the dialogues, but it did have like interesting characters, which in my opinion made part 2 leagues better than part 1, and in terms of just character wise, I think better than part 3, better than not sure if better than part 4 or better than part 5 in terms of overall cast, but Joseph is my favorite JoJo, so I think overall part 2 is really good because it brings some elements of part 1, improves on them, then I think part 3 improves on them more. But then IQ, I think IQ overall is the more solid work. I like the characters, I like the arcs, I like a lot of the games. I think the ending is okay. I would have enjoyed a different ending, but it's not bad. Honestly, I think IQ overall is the more solid of both of them, if that makes sense. Part 2 and IQ, but easy 9 out of 10s. I actually don't have any of these as a 9, but I can understand. I totally understand why some people would put it at a 9. I have IQ at an 8. I have JoJo at a 7. IQ, part 2 is a massive improvement over part 1. Yes. Part 2 is a massive improvement of part 1. But again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact of just the characters being more interesting and more likable to me. I don't like Dio. I'm just gonna be honest. I enjoy the villains of part 2, Cars and YM, and don't remember the other guy's name, but Cars and YM I enjoy them more than Dio. So still gonna go with IQ. Yeah, to each his own. Mysterious Girlfriend X versus Devilman. Know these Devilman. I'm not sure how many of you have read the manga of Devilman. It is it's really fun. It looks like someone was on heavy drugs when it was writing it. So I'm not sure what you mean with not even in part 3, because it's been so long. Oh, AC/DC, yeah, the name AC/DC is such a stupid name. I understand what he was trying to do, but it's such a stupid name. Devilman was Conan was on drugs. I like it. I really do. More so because of how stupid it is. Because how funny it is at times, more so than the actual quality of the manga. On the other hand, Mysterious Girlfriend X is kinda-ish of a shonen version of things like Tsuname, of things like I'm missing the name. Akuno Hana. You know, it's kind of like those weird relationships between a character and a girl. It kind of feels like it could have been written by Yoshimi in some ways, but it's a bit more soft. It's a bit more cute, and I kind of like it. Devilman is more important in terms of like relevance to, I think, the manga as a whole. Gonagai itself, a lot of like Devilman stuff. I think Gonagai is always enjoyable from the little that I've read from him, which I think has been Devilman and Cutie Honey only, and some chapters of the ecchi one that are translated because most of them aren't. The ecchi one, Gonagai just draws boobs, but yeah. The first one on Jump. I'm gonna go with Mysterious Girlfriend X. Homunculus versus Solony. I know a lot of people like Homunculus. I know I liked Homunculus a lot when I read it, because, you know, the imagery that it had, the main character, it was... I don't really remember a lot of the details of it, but I remember finding it... Renchi Gakuen, yes, the ecchi one. There's, yeah, all of them are ecchi. I just read some chapters of Renchi Gakuen, and yeah, I like it. And I like Homunculus as well. But yeah, I don't remember too much of it. But I remember thinking it was super interesting. And I definitely need to reread it. The one that I don't need to reread, though, is Solony, because Solony is a manga that I've read like 7 times. It's the first manga that I owned physically, so that has a lot to do with it. But it is the manga that I relate to the most, as well. Especially when I read it the first time, you know, in my early teens, early 20s, I mean. Just such a relatable manga, just everything in it, just, you know, it's not just one character that I relate to, it's all of them. It's the way that they go about their lives, is the way that they cling to their dreams, is the way that they wonder what they want to do with, you know, with their future. If they want to quit their jobs, if they want to stay, what's important in their life. And, you know, back then there was like this character as well, and something that just is on college because he flunked and everyone else has moved away from college and is working. And when I read Solony the first time, that's exactly my position as well. So this manga is just so important to me, you know, in a more psychological and more relatable level. So I'm gonna have to go with Solony. Kurosawa, the Master of Masturbation, versus Deadman Wonderland. I like Deadman Wonderland. I think Deadman Wonderland is often considered kind of like this edgy manga. It probably is. I'm not sure how much I'd like it if I read it now. Probably still like Shiro, because I remember the thing that I liked the most in the manga was Shiro. But Kurosawa, if you have not read any of the name The Master of Masturbation, kind of makes you want to skip this one. Don't. Because to me, this manga is one of the best in terms of character development. In terms of having like this, the redemption arc of a manga, of a character. I don't think I've read any that is as good as Kurosawa's in this manga, because, you know, it just, you know, the first chapters, I think the first half a volume or so, it's just very jokey. It kind of feels like much more of a parody of Death Note. The character is very edgy, and it's not very relatable. I mean, it might be relatable to a lot of people. It kind of feels like a parody of, not so much of Death Note, but of the character of the guys that read Death Note or watch Death Note and think they're light. You know, the ones that are like super edgy and like, oh, I'm just like it's like me for real. That's who Kurosawa is. He's a light fanboy. But over the course of the manga, there's just so much that happens that completely changes the way that he views the people around him, the classmates, his life, his actions. and love, because this is at the end a love story as well. So yeah, Kurosawa is great manga, and everyone should check it out. What a Wonderful World versus Uzumaki. One of the weakest manga in Asano's works, I think. It's not his weakest. There are some that are weaker. But I think, again, this is his debut. It really isn't as great as he would be with Solony, with Punpun. So yeah, and when I first read it, I really liked it, because I think it was my first Asano manga. I think I read it before I read Punpun. But when I read it after reading Punpun, after reading these other works, just really didn't live up to the memories that I had of it. On the other hand, Uzumaki. I don't think Uzumaki to me is my favorite manga from Ito. So far that I've completed, I'm reading No Longer Human, which I like more. But as far as the ones that I've completed, Uzumaki is the one that I like the most. I'm actually going to drop a review of Uzumaki next week. Next week's going to be 2 videos, one on Roboko and a Uzumaki review to start the Halloween month, the October month, which I'm going to just dedicate October to just drop a lot of horror stuff. So if you like horror, stay tuned. The first one is Uzumaki, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but I think Uzumaki wins this one. Claymore versus Cardcaptor Sakura. I like both of these. Claymore reminds me a bit of Berserk, just not as good as Berserk. But it is interesting, especially because it is a full female cast in a very dark and gory medieval kind of story. So it is really interesting. If you haven't read Claymore, if you like Berserk, if you like Villain Saga and you like those things, check Claymore. Basically the same genre. Cardcaptor Sakura. I have a soft spot for Cardcaptor Sakura because I watched it as a kid a lot on TV. With really, I've caught a glimpse of the Portuguese dub again recently, and the voice is just so annoying. It's the same voice actor that does the character from Sailor Moon, which I don't remember the name. Don't think she's called Sakura as well. Don't remember, but they're both the same voice actor, and they are so annoying. But I loved it as a kid, because you do. And then I read the manga recently. Recently, it's been some years, but and it was really solid. It's not the best, but it is a solid manga. It is a solid shoujo. I think it's among the best shoujos that I've read. I do need to read more shoujos, but I like it. Yeah, women fight and there is magic and stuff. Yes. I'm gonna go with Claymore though, even though I like Sakura. I do. These are 2 10 out of 10s for me. Gens versus Villain Saga. Villain Saga to me feels... I always compare it a little bit to Berserk, which I think it's fair to compare it to Berserk. Both of them are kind of medieval, both of them are kind of gory, both of them have really interesting main character. The difference is that Villain Saga is based in real life, just when real life was very gory. And I actually think overall I like Villain Saga more. Also Mimi in Digimon Adventure. Yes, I remember. She was super annoying as Mimi as well. There's a scene in Digimon Adventure where when Mimi is singing like karaoke, and it's the worst thing in Portuguese dub ever. So if you can find it online, check it out. Yeah, Villain Saga, I actually kind of like it more than Berserk overall. Gantz, I need to reread because I binged it like 2 days. I think I read everything of Gantz. And it's just so insane. I think I loved it because it was super insane, more so than anything else, more so than characters, more so than the story, more so than the art. Just was the absolute insanity of everything that was happening in Gantz. Just made me love it so much. And it's, I think I put it as a 10 out of 10 when I first finished it. I think now I put it as 9.5 because I don't remember too much about it. I definitely it's a manga that I really want to go back and enjoy again. But overall, I like Villain Saga more. Akira versus Eden, It's an Endless World. Now, this one is actually among two manga that are kind of similar in some regards. Both of them are kind of like futuresque sci-fi with kind of like semi-post-apocalyptic world. Akira is, of course, a classic. Eden, not so much a classic, but I think it's a manga that really deserves more recognition than it has. And to me, honestly, I think I like Eden a bit more. Akira is great. It's did I read Inuyashiki? I have not read Inuyashiki. Cannot even pronounce it, but I actually own it in digital form legally. And I'm gonna read it this Halloween. So soon. Next to my beloved manga fighting. Not sure if it's these two or if it's the previous two. But all four of them are great, though. But yeah, I think Eden I like more than Akira. Akira is just mind blowing when you think of when it was released, and you read other manga that was being released around the same time as Akira. It's just so much better in pretty much every aspect. It's so ahead of its time. But Eden, I kind of like it more. Bakuman versus Medaka Box. This is a battle of two of my favorite Shonen Jump titles, but I'm gonna have to go with Bakuman just because I think Medaka Box isn't solid all the way through. The arcs that are really good in Medaka Box are really good. Are better than Bakuman. Are some of my favorite arcs, as I mentioned. But then the start of the manga, it's kind of boring. It's not too bad, but it's kind of boring. Then the ending of the manga, the final arc, is really bad. Bakuman overall has a weaker start, but once it really starts getting good, it keeps on getting good. So I'm gonna go with Bakuman. I'm gonna start trying to rush things a little bit. Not sure how you guys are. I'm assuming you guys can notice that my voice is just kind of dying a little bit. Then Bill Bat versus Good Ending. I like Bill Bat more. Urasawa manga. Good Ending is a solid rom-com, but just doesn't come close. I Am a Hero versus the Riddler. So again, I really like I Am a Hero. I haven't finished it. I paused it, and I haven't gone back to it. I need to go back to it. I've been told that the ending is not super cool. I really like the final arcs in Medaka. It's not necessarily the final arcs plural. It's the final arc, the last one, the final one that I think is bad. Personally, you're late. You're an hour and a half late, but we're still midway through, so again, I'm gonna try to rush things a little bit more, and I'm gonna go with Norodoro on this one. Nisekoi versus Emanon. Again, Emanon is gonna win this one. But hello, Mike. How are you? Nisekoi is great. I think no, I don't. I was gonna say I have both of these rated as a 9, but no, I have Emanon as a 10. The sequels of Emanon I have as a 9, but I'm considering just the first, just Memories of Emanon here. So in Memories of Emanon wins, just because this guy had a lot of flaws that I mentioned earlier. IQ versus Mysterious Girlfriend X. Whew. I think I like IQ more, now that I think about it. Mysterious Girlfriend X is fun. I think there's manga that do what it does better. Darker as well, more serious as well. So Mysterious Girlfriend X is a good alternative to if you want to check out something like, Nozaki Hana, Sundeme, Akuno Hana, but you don't want that heaviness in that heavy nudity as well that is associated with those manga. Mysterious Girlfriend X is a good alternative, but overall there's manga that do it better. IQ, while there are manga that supports manga that I kind of enjoy more, I really like IQ as well. I think it kind of stays with those. Sorry. Solning versus Kurosawa. I think... Oh, fuck. My stomach is dying. I feel like Emran, you will definitely love both Soso no Frieren and To Your Eternity. I need to check those out because I haven't. I've heard of To Your Eternity, which is by the same mangaka of the Silent Voice, I think, right? I haven't read it. And Soso no Frieren, I actually don't think I've heard of it. Fake fan, sorry. Kurosawa versus Solanin. This choice is going to surprise some of you, but I'm going to go with Kurosawa. Again, I really like Solanin. It's something that I relate to the most. But I think overall the character arc of Kurosawa really is one that I really, really love. And it wins. Uzumaki versus Claymore. I kind of want to go with Uzumaki just because I remember Uzumaki more. That may have to do with the fact that I've reread Uzumaki a little bit recently. Okay, it's by your name mangaka. By your... Okay, to your... No. Which is by your name mangaka? Because I thought To Your Eternity was by a Silent Voice mangaka. Am I wrong? I'm confused. But I'm gonna go with Uzumaki here. I think... I don't remember Claymore too much. That's probably the thing. I remember I liked it, but if I reread it, I think I would like it more. In terms of ratings, if I go back to my analysts, I think I have them both rated the same, so that's not going to help me. Do you guys want to help? Because, yeah, I'm probably going to go with Uzumaki. Soundbites, okay. I'm not insane. It's a tough pick. Yeah, it is a tough pick. Again, I think if I remember the Claymore more, it would have been easier. Okay, I'm gonna go with Uzumaki. Yon Saga versus Enden, It's an Endless World. Claymore is a bit like Berserk with Woman. It's not as... The story is slightly different. I don't think it's as heavy as Berserk. I know it's not as heavy as Berserk. But yeah, it kind of is similar. This one I gotta go with Villain Saga. Like I said, I think I like Villain Saga even more than I like Berserk. So even if it's a manga that I really like, It really is not at the same level of Villain Saga. Bachman versus Billy Bat, the mangaka match, because both of these technically are about mangaka, because the Billy Bat main character is a mangaka and Billy Bat is a manga character. Very different though, and I'm gonna go with Urasawa in this one. And I think it's gonna last longer than his other Urasawa works on the previous sire. This one is hard. This one is hard. Well, technically it isn't. My favorite character is Zemanon, but my favorite manga is Dorodoro, so that's kind of like the hard part of it. And you know, Amonon's very special to me. Otherwise, she wouldn't be the avatar of the channel. But I gotta go with Dorodoro. So yeah, sorry, Amanon, sorry. And this one I gotta go with Kurosawa. I like IQ, but again, it's not even my favorite sports manga, and Kurosawa is just a manga that I really love. And I know there's probably like some IQ fans here, at least Jazz, if Jazz is still here. I know he really likes IQ, so I'm sorry, Jazz. But Kurosawa, I know you like Kurosawa as well, so. Inuzumaki versus Villain Saga. I gotta go with Villain Saga. Uzumaki is a solid horror. I think I mentioned this on my video with Doofy. I don't think Uzumaki is, or rather, I don't think Junji Hito is a mangaka that does 10 out of 10 manga. I think he's a mangaka that does really solid manga that are really interesting to read, that are really interesting to look at. He's very unique, so it's not like he's a bad mangaka, but to me he's not a 10 out of 10 mangaka. Villain Saga is a 10 out of 10 manga. This the part that I've read, which to be fair, was only like the first half of the manga, so to speak. But yeah. Okay, Jazz likes both. We're cool. Billy Bat versus Dorodoro. I gotta go with Dorodoro. I'm sorry. Then Kurosawa versus Villain Saga. No. I kind of want to say that I like Villain Saga more. Kurosawa was a little bit more in my memory. And I remember loving his arc. But Villain Saga is also such a great character arc for Thorfinn that it still has that edge as well. So I'm gonna go with Villain Saga. And this is a match, ladies and gentlemen, Dorodoro versus Villain Saga. I kind of am curious to see your opinions. I guess you guys know which one I like the most, even though I really love these two. I'm kind of curious to see. I'm assuming most of you prefer Villain Saga. Not sure, but we'll see. They have the same face expression. Yeah, they're kind of like, I'm not gonna say they're similar characters, but they are kind of again, both of them have like that character arc to it. So yeah, I don't know, I think I've said everything that I'd say about these two manga, which is the thing. They're there for Silverwind. Yeah. Those are just such a special manga. I know Villain Saga is as well. But the thing is, I haven't even finished Villain Saga. If I had, maybe my opinion would be different, but I need to go back to it so much. Villain Saga, yeah. I'm gonna vote Dorodoro, so you don't have to wait to look at my face silent for too long. Or because of the violent betrayal. I think I know what you're talking about. if it's what happens in the time skip, I think I know what you're talking about. If it's not, One Piece versus Doro. So this is my top 1 versus my top 2. And again, the thing is, if you walk into my room, the choice is going to seem obvious. Even though I have a couple of volumes of Doro, which I do, I have dozens of figures of One Piece. I have the box sets, 2 of them. I had a poster. I don't have it anymore. But I just have. Look at this room can tell you that One Piece is very special to me. It's that one manga that has been following me since day one. But Doro is just kind of like the one manga that I read it just kind of like snipped past all the others. It's just landed number 1. Just kind of said, this is what I'm gonna say. But it is such a, even then, it is such a tough decision, I'm gonna say. One Piece has a good world building. Doro has a unique approach. Yes, One Piece has the best world building out of the 2. Even I love Doro's world as well. It's super unique. But, One Piece is just, in terms of world building, just amazing. Hey Killen, you're a couple of hours late, but we're still not done, so yeah, you're fine. How was my vacation? My vacation was fine. Thank you for asking, LQ. Yeah, basically spent some days still in the country, but up north near my girlfriend's parents' house, and it was pretty fun. So thank you. And yes, Peroba. And yeah, I'm not gonna delay any longer. I'm just gonna. Doro is the winner. Don't care. Get away. Okay, Doro is the winner of Tournament 1, but Killen, it is okay because I have a whole new secret tournament here. So, yeah, Tournament 2 is on the way. And the first match is JoJo's versus A Silent Voice. And A Silent Voice wins. I think I've been vocal. I'm not sure if I've been vocal on the channel about why I don't like JoJo. So just to be more specific, JoJo's Part 1, to revisit some of the elements. The art style is not that good. I know Haraki has Louvre expositions, and I know the art style in later JoJo is really great. First part is not good. It feels kind of like a ripoff of Fist of North Star, but even Fist of North Star had better art style. It had much better art style, in my opinion. I don't like the characters. I really don't. Jonathan is my least favorite JoJo. It's my least favorite character in the manga. It's my least favorite character overall. I really hate him. I really hate his face, and it's probably the biggest reason why I don't like JoJo's Part 1 has to do with John. So if that pisses off anyone, kind of expected. And then I don't like the dialogues. I think the dialogues are very weird, very cheesy, very strange. They just don't flow nicely at all. Dio is fine-ish. I don't like it as much as other people like Dio. And on the other hand, we have Sound Voice, which is a manga I love, which is a manga that I think everyone should read. I like the manga, I like the one-shot, I like the movie. I think the one-shot may actually be the superior version just because it just is so it's short, but it just throws that point like right away. And whereas, the manga takes a little bit more to explore everything and all the layers and all the characters. And, the one-shot just kind of like, this is what happens if you bully people with disability, and you really shouldn't. So the message is just there in a more raw form. In terms of story, the manga is better. In my opinion, it's also better than the movie, but the movie is really beautiful. So if you like the manga, check out the movie as well. Because, yeah, it's great. and Lavina, what? Soundbite Twins. Faces Screaming, All You Need Is Kill, which is by Takeshi Obata, and Dead Demons, Dead Destruction, which is, for those who don't know, my favorite Asano manga. Insulting Jonathan again. Every chance I get to insult Jonathan again, I just do it. I'm very sorry, but I just do it. Bye, Kirill. The Demons is one of the best manga I've read. It's, in my opinion, even better than Punpun, which is a really weird thing to say, and I get it. It's not going to be the same opinion that everyone's going to have, but to me, just, it is the natural evolution of Punpun. All You Need Is Kill is fun, but to me, that's it. It's fun, it has great art because it's by Obata. The story is interesting. I love time travel stories, so I kind of enjoyed All You Need Is Kill, but it really doesn't touch Dead Demons. So, yeah, easy peasy. Weird match in here. My Hero Academia versus Innocent. So I've only read Innocent. I haven't read the sequel of Innocent, which is Rogue, which, from the way Innocent finishes, the idea that I have is that Rouge, or whatever, the second part of Innocent, is just going to be so much more interesting, so much more fun. But Innocent is a great manga, especially the visuals, not simply the art style, just the way that the mangaka chooses to show some things, the imagery that he puts on the manga, and the story of the main character. Just really interesting, and it's more interesting because everything is based on real life events. So this is definitely a manga that you guys should check out if you haven't. And I'm really curious to check out Rouge because it tackles the French Revolution. It's about the French Revolution, which this one is kind of like the build up to that. It goes against MAJ, which is a completely different monster, in the sense that it's a completely different manga. It's a battle shonen, a classic battle shonen, but one that I find to be one of the most interesting, especially after what I think in the anime is the ending of season 3. When that battle between All Might and All for One. From that point onwards, everything just kind of, even I think the hero killer arc is the arc before of that. That arc is really interesting as well. But to me, just after those two, that MAJ just really starts getting really special. And to me, what's so special about it is very much how the heroes, the adults, not so much the kids as well, are interesting, but the adults, the heroes, the current generation of heroes, to me is the most interesting part of the manga, and especially recently in the manga, it's just, every arc's just been great. I think most people are enjoying it as well. So that's first half of season 3. Okay, so yeah, I thought it was season 3. But yeah, to me, from that point onwards, just great. Hey, these are really different manga. They are. Both of them are great. I'd say both of them are around the same level to me in terms of just how much I enjoy them. But I may have to go with the Shonen Boy, with My Hero Academia, just because recent arcs have just been amazing. So yeah. I don't remember the Japanese name of this one. I tried to mention it earlier. But it's Future Diary versus Chainsaw Man. And Future Diary was okay. I remember liking it. I remember thinking the plot twist at the end is really, really stupid. Whereas I think most of you know that I like Chainsaw Man. I really, really love Chainsaw Man. It's one of my favorites. It's not my all-time favorite, but it is a manga that recently I read. It's been special. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Redor. So yeah, it's wild, it's insane. Mirai Nikki, thank you, it's Mirai Nikki. But yeah, Mirai Nikki is okay. I'm not sure. I remember liking it back then. I don't know if I like it now, but it really doesn't touch Chainsaw Man. Mashle versus Girls Last Tour. Yeah, Chainsaw Man destroys. No two ways about it. And in this one, I think Girl Last Tour wins. Hey lad, you're welcome. We're just doing some tier lists, and we're putting Mashle against Girl Last Tour. So yeah, I don't know if anyone have read A Girl's Last Tour. I think Homoy, not sure if you already here, has and read and likes it. Maybe you're wrong, but A Girl's Last Tour is really good. If you like YKK, Yokohama, Gaiko something, it kind of is similar to that, but a little bit more darker. And it's just the story of two girls walking around in a post-apocalyptic world, and just such a beautiful manga, such a relaxing manga that I know it's really beautiful. If you want to read something that it really is beautiful, check this one out. Mashle is fun. I've been enjoying Mashle. I think the character of Mash is really fun. I think the times when Mash just kind of beats the shit out of people is really fun. Everything else is kind of okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Mashle. There's definitely battle shows that I like more than Mashle and Jump. There's definitely gag manga that I like more than Mashle and Jump. So it just kind of is fine. It's there. It's good. It has some things unique to it that I enjoy reading each and every week, but it's not among my favorites. So I'm gonna go with A Girl's Last Tour. I don't know how fandoms here landed on the top 128 most popular manga. But I guess it was popular. And this is kind of like a battle between two newbies, except one of them is cancelled, one of them is not. From Sakamoto Days, and Sakamoto Days is one of the best like newbies in Jump right now. I would say it's one of the best manga in Jump right now. So, to me, this is a no-brainer. Phantom series was fine. I liked it, especially the last arc. But Sakamoto Days just clears, as the kids say. JoJo's Part 4 versus Fire Punch. Glass Core, of course. Sakamoto, yeah. Sakamoto wins. Okay, so JoJo's Part 4 is my favorite JoJo part so far. I've read the first 5, and to me, this is the one that I really, really like. This is the one that I think it's great from beginning to end, especially more so the end, especially more the later part. It has a good, solid cast of characters. I don't like Josuke. Fuck, I forgot his name. Jonathan, Joseph. You guys are going to tell me in the chat. But I don't like the main character of JoJo's Part 4 more than I like Joseph. I think Joseph is still better. But he's my second favorite JoJo. Is the most fun. Is one of the most fun. It has a good cast. It has a great world, city. And the best part, in my opinion, is the villain. It's Kira, which I really find him to be the most interesting villains in JoJo so far. So yeah, overall I think it's the most solid JoJo part. I haven't read Part 7, I haven't read even Part 6, so that may change later, but Part 4 is really great, but it's not as great as Fire Punch. Josuke. Okay, so was the name of Part 3? Jotaro. Sorry, Jotaro. So, I was confusing, but I don't remember the other Japanese name. Fire Punch to me is kind of like Chainsaw Man. It's not as good as Chainsaw Man, but just by a little, tiny little bit. Okay, I just saw myself eating the thing on the stream. Yeah, just Fire Punch is just so good. And the ending is really interesting. I know some people don't like the ending, but I love it, and it's insane. It's basically as insane as Chainsaw Man. So if you like that, read Fire Punch. You know, Fujimoto hasn't missed since then, so I'm have to go with Fire Punch. It's kind of an unfair comparison, these two, because I think, all in all, I like Blue Box more than I like Assassination Classroom, but Blue Box is just starting, whereas Assassination Classroom, you know, it's a complete story. So I think overall it is more solid, and the ending is, you know, it is amazing. I think I'm gonna give it to Assassination Classroom, just because of the ending. I haven't met anyone that has read Assassination Classroom that doesn't like the ending. I know some people that don't like the build up to the ending. I think there's a lot of things in Assassination Classroom, you know, the middle parts that are not as good. But you know, that ending, it is fantastic. So, S class, but Blue Box is really good. It's a manga that I've been enjoying each and every week. It's one of my favorite jump manga as well right now. At least in terms of newbies, it is. This is a weird comparison to make. As Manga Dayo versus Reirako, which is Downfall, which is Asano's one of the most recent manga. I think it's the last manga to be translated in English. Actually have it physical. It is good. It's Asano tackling his Punpun-esque ways again and issues. It is such a bleak and dark story. But as Manga Dayo is kind of the complete opposite. It's just a lighthearted story. And the thing that I said about Keion, the previous tier tournament bracket thing, is that Keion doesn't work as for Coma. And the thing that I've noticed the more I read for Coma is that for Comas don't tend to work that well. There's very few 4 comas that I really enjoy. But Azumanga Daioh is a perfect example of how to do one. And everything, like, I'm not gonna say that every joke is funny, but there's so many funny jokes. There's so many things in Azumanga Daioh that are just so quotable, just stay with you. And even though I read it so many years ago, it's like really so many years ago, there's still jokes I remember. There's still jokes that I still have saved on my computer, because it is just that hilarious. So this is Good Times versus Bad Times, and I'm gonna go with Good Times and give it to Azumanga Daioh. Burn the Witch versus Undead Unlock. So I think this tournament is the one with a lot of the short jump titles. So be ready. We have Jujutsu Kaisen versus Act Age afterwards as well. So Undead Unlock, I like Undead Unlock more. I think Burn the Witch is just okay. I think the coolest thing of Burn the Witch is the art style. I think Burn the Witch has a lot of elements that it builds up, but by virtue of being 5 chapters, they really don't deliver on it. And maybe that will change with the part 2 and part 3 and part 4 and part 5 and how many ever Kubo wants to do. Even though I don't know, since he just dropped the Bleach one-shot that seems to lead to more Bleach, I don't know what he's gonna do, but so far, Burn the Witch is, I'm gonna have to give it to Undead Unlock. Undead Unlock just has such a more interesting world building, just kind of like developing and building, and keeps me interested every single week, or interested in every single week. And it keeps my brain thinking. And actually, I may drop a theory on Undead Unluck soon. Not sure how soon, but it is an idea that I have, and I kind of wanted to make a video on it. So if that's the thing that people are interested, let me know, because I don't think there's a lot of Undead Unluck theory videos out there. So yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen versus Act H. So we're gonna do it this way. I like overall the package. I like Act H more. The thing is, Act H is cancelled with a very abrupt ending because of very horrible actions by one of its mangakas. Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't like as much, but it's still ongoing. It has a lot of solid points, and it's not cancelled by terrible actions of their mangaka. So I'm actually going to give Jujutsu Kaisen this one. And if you voted Jujutsu Kaisen on the pool, which I think most people did, you guys won an absolute nothing, but you guys won. So yeah. Ice School of the Dead versus Tsuneme. This is another manga that didn't really end. This one, for different reasons, the mangaka passed away before the manga was completed. Similar to Berserk, which is really sad, because it's not like that I like Ice School of the Dead, because I really don't. But it's always sad to see someone, pass away and not finish their life's work. And High School of the Dead was, all in all, was still kind of fun. But Tsuneme is the superior one in here, to me, without a shadow of the doubt. If you like things like Haku no Hana, you should check out Tsuneme. Just such a dark and bold, very, very bold, very, very graphical, sexually graphical manga. But one that just is so interesting. The Promised Neverland versus JoJo's Part 3. So, I think JoJo's Part 3 is very solid. JJK is doing an Hunter x Hunter arc. I never read Hunter x Hunter, but that is kind of what it feels like. Honestly, I kind of am enjoying this arc of JJK a little bit. Don't tell that to Rorin, I guess, but I am enjoying it a little bit. Probably more than Shibuya, which is wild opinion, I guess. JoJo Part 3 is very solid. JoJo's Part 3, to me, kind of gets a little bit repetitive, but it's such a fun road trip manga. You really get to learn and start to love the main cast, which is something I really love. Like, ensemble cast is the thing that I really love. It's the one thing that I like of Part 3 and of Part 5 more so than the other parts. Is like the main cast, the way that they're not as separate beings, but more so as a group. And JoJo's Part 3 just does it really, really well. The Promised Neverland first arc is leagues better than JoJo, in my opinion, but it also has really good arc with the Goldie Pound. I really like Goldie Pound. I think it's, in terms of the villain, I like the Louise more than I like the mother. The arc themselves, I think I like the first one more. But everything else besides these two really great arcs is not that good. So I think overall, I think JoJo Part 3 actually wins over The Promised Neverland. And the ending of JoJo's Part 3, the final battle, is really, really cool. It's my favorite part of it. But I think JoJo's really knows how to do final battles. Pun Pun versus Frankenfriend. Frankenfriend, I've talked a little bit about it. It's super cool. If you like Iroguro without wanting it to be too disgusting, Frankenfriend is the one to check out. It's not Hiroguro. It has all the elements of an Hiroguro, just a little bit less gore, a little bit less graphic. It's still graphic, it's still gory, but it's not just as much as one would be of Hiroguro. And it's not as sexual. That is definitely not. So it's really fun manga. And one that you guys should check out for this horror month that is coming as well. But Pun Pun is Pun Pun, and Pun Pun wins. Apocalypse no Toride, which I think it's called Fort of the Apocalypse, and Orange. Fort of the Apocalypse is kind of like a I Am a Hero kind of manga, except not really. The zombies are kind of like a human hero, more so than High School of the Dead and Day of the Dead series of movies from Romero. Rest in peace. Fort of the Apocalypse is interesting. It's more of a shonen-esque manga. I think it is shonen, but it is a bit more light. It is a bit more action-based. And Orange is just one of my favorite shoujos. I think it is my favorite shoujo. Shoujo, not JoJo. I'm not gonna go with Orange on this one. I just really like time travel stories, and Orange just really does that one really well. Alice in Borderland, another horror manga that I really like, versus Kasane, kind of an horror manga as well. Not really. It has the tag horror, but it really isn't horror. And Kasane is beautiful. It's a beautiful story. It's my favorite manga that I read last year. And Alice in Borderland is great. It's one of the best Dead Game manga I read, and I read a lot of Dead Game manga. But Kasane wins just easily. I think people are dropping out, so I'm going to try to push things a little bit more. There should be 4 of you there, so shout out to the 4 of you. Gonna go with Dead the Demons on this one. I really like Sound Voice, but Dead the Demons is just a step above. And My Hero Academia versus Chainsaw Man. I think some of you already know. I like Chainsaw Man more. Again, My Hero Academia is really great, but Chainsaw Man it's one of my top 10 manga. So. Girlesser versus Sakamoto Days. I kind of like Sakamoto Days more. Thank you, Silver. Thank you for being here. Even if it's just you and me, we'll finish this. I am gonna go with Sakamoto Days. Girls Lesser is really beautiful. Sakamoto Days is really fun. I really like the way that it does the fights, it does the battles and the characters. Yeah, Yube. Yeah. And Fire Punch versus Assassination Classroom. I'm gonna go with Fire Punch as well. I'm gonna go with Fire Punch. Yeah, it's good to see there's still people watching. I'm not just talking to the air. So as long as I have like 1, 2, 3 people, we're fine. We're doing this. If you guys are getting tired or whatever, just let me know. And then Luck versus Azumanga Daioh. This is really Kyubi and the other 2 people. Yes, the other 2. Oh yeah, one of the other 2 is actually just me. Just so you know. But yeah, so there's just another 1 person. It should be Jazz, I suppose. Maybe not. Maybe not. Azumanga Daioh is hilarious. I think that Luck has the chance to surpass Azumanga Daioh in my heart. Yes, Jazz. I knew it. I think Azumanga Daioh could surpass Azumanga Daioh. When the manga is completed, right now, just because of how funny it is, just because of the characters, just because of that, I think Azumanga Daioh wins this fight. Then we're gonna say goodbye to Jujutsu Kaisen with Tsunade. So if you guys have not read Tsunade, Tsunade is again very graphical story about a girl kind of just forcing a guy to do some really weird sexual acts, and it's really fun. It's real psychological. Reminds me a little bit of Nozoki Hana as well, which I don't think it's on this list, but it should be because it should be more popular. I think it was Gigak who mentioned it recently. Recently, it's been some while, but I think a famous YouTuber, manga, an YouTuber, did a video on it. I'm not sure. But yeah, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, so Tsunade is going to win. JoJo's Part 3 versus Punpun. I think most of you are not going to blame me for giving it to Punpun. And Orange versus Kasane. Two really beautiful stories, but one that Kasane wins, in my opinion. Yeah, again, I like Orange, especially like the fact, mostly because I like time traveling manga. And this is and the old Kyosuri, which is a weird thing to like, but I'm really interested in the Kyosuri, and Orange kind of plays on that. The butterfly effect, in case you guys don't know. Orange really plays on that, really uses it to tell a really beautiful story. But Kasane, the way that Kasane does this story about, beauty and how it affects you and ugliness and using that to act, it's one of the best stories I've ever read. So. Chainsaw Man versus Dead Demons. I'm gonna give it to Dead Demons, honestly. I think Chainsaw Man is great. I think everyone knows that I love Chainsaw Man. But I think I like Dead Demons more. I'm really interesting to see how Dead Demons ends, because it's fast approaching its final arc. And to me, again, I like Dead Demons more than Punpun. So, yeah. Sorry, Chainsaw Man. This is where we part. Bye. And then we have Fire Punch versus Sakamoto Days. So Fire Punch is, of course, the other Fujimoto manga. And I kind of like Fire Punch more. Sakamoto Days has the chance to eventually surpass Fire Punch, I think. But as it is right now, I think I'm going to keep Fujimoto. I'm going to keep one Fujimoto manga. The other side, I'm pretty sure there's Look Back. Yeah, we're going to start with Look Back. Azumanga versus Tsunade. I'm going to go to Tsunade. Tsunade's, yeah, I'm going to go to Tsunade. And Punpun versus Kasane. So both of these are similar in some ways. Because both of these tackle kind of like the mental state, the always declining mental state of a character. Of course, Kasane has some supernatural elements, and it's very much more about acting. And it's super bleak, but it's not as bleak even so as Punpun. But I don't know. I really love Kasane. I really do. But Punpun and Asano are just one of my all-time favorite manga as well. So this is a super hard one for me. Sakamoto Days fight scenes go hard, not gonna lie. They do. Fight scenes of Sakamoto Days are the best. In my opinion, they are the best. I'm gonna go to Punpun. We're approaching the end. So, I see where this is going. So, Dead Demons versus Fire Punch. I like Chainsaw Man more than I like Fire Punch, and I like Dead Demons more like Fireman. They're like Fireman. They're like Chainsaw Man, Fireman. So I like Dead Demons. And Tsunade versus Punpun, both super bleak manga. I think Punpun, of course, is the best one out of these two. So we're ending the semifinal with two Asano manga, and not only just two Asano manga, but the two best Asano manga in my opinion. They're kind of different. I think, Pun Pun, Asano went all out with the darkness, with the bleakness of Pun Pun, which it really doesn't do with Dead Demons. Dead Demons is still dark, but it's such much more comedic, much more light compared to its brethren. But to me, the thing that Dead Demons has over Pun Pun, it's kind of like the characters. I kind of like the fact that it's not as dark as well, because Pun Pun just did that. It just did that excellently, and there's no other manga that Asano's gonna write that, in my opinion, is gonna do Bleak as well as Pun Pun is doing Bleak. So Dead Demons does it differently, or takes a different approach on Asano style. And the thing that I've mentioned is that it also has a lot of elements from Urasawa, which is my second favorite mangaka, and he does it so well. So to me, just kind of like an evolution of Asano talents in a different way that I just really, really love. So Dead Demons wins this bracket, and we're going to the last one. And I'm just gonna, don't leave, I'm just gonna take 2 seconds because I really need to go to the bathroom. So if you guys haven't gone to the bathroom yet, just go as well. Otherwise, just talk. I don't know, just talk between yourselves. See ya in a second. Beck found my ring. Crash Share, best streamer. Yes, Crash Share is the best. It's more interesting than me. To the bathroom together. We'll crash up there. Yes, Crash is up there. I have a lot of crashes up there, but yeah. So let's go. Look Back versus Your Lie in April. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember much of Your Lie in April. I was trying to convince my girlfriend to watch the anime with me because it was on Netflix, and I think she would like the story from the little that I remember. But yeah, from what I remember, I don't remember much, so I'm gonna have to go with Look Back. I really like Look Back. It's really super special. And yes, I know that it's a one shot versus a full manga, so that's kind of unfair, but it is the best one shot that I've ever read. And yes, I know that's Yukami. I know. Berserk versus I forgot his name. Blank Canvas. Kaku Shikajika. That's it. I'm gonna have to go with Kaku just because, for those that haven't read, this is kind of a manga about the mangaka that is writing. She's basically telling the story of how she became a mangaka, and more so how she wasn't planning to become a mangaka, and then she took art classes, and the art classes were more so as a as a pure art, not just comic books, and just kind of like how that evolves to manga, and more so the story of her coach and of her professor and what he meant to her. And again, this is all real life events told by the person in manga format, so it's really, really special. Spur Circle is really great manga. It's a really great battle shonen. I love it. I think it's by the same guy who's did the Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. To me, this is a superior manga. It's about time travel, and it's really, really fun. Fujimoto does good one-shots, except Imoto no One. Like Yuba said, I actually kind of like Imoto no One. That's the painting one, right? It's not my favorite. Look Back is my favorite. I haven't read all of Fujimoto's one-shots, but I liked Imoto no One, and I think it feels similar to Look Back in some regards, in some topics that it tackles. So this one, for those that don't know, it doesn't have an actual cover because this is a doujinshi. It's Molester Man, and it's by the same guy who does Onani Master Kurosawa or Kurosawa Master Masturbation, and it goes against I'm Sakamoto Desu. I'm Sakamoto, I think it's Sakamoto Desuga. I'm reading Dan 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 actually. It's on the list. It's very near the end. It's here. I'm reading Dan Dan Dan. We didn't talk about Dan Dan Dan. I'm pretty sure I talked about Dan 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 with you. Hey Dylan, I'm doing fine. Thanks for joining the stream. We are slightly approaching its end slowly. But yeah, so Monster Man just sounds like a really stupid and bad name. But it's by the same guy who made Master of Masturbation, and both of these are really cute stories. So this one is actually a real life story as well. This is about a guy who was confused as a molester, hence the name Molester Man. But then he starts like connecting with this girl, and he starts asking for help in 2chan, which is Japan's 4chan. And he starts like asking for help in the image board, starts like telling what happened to him and that girl. It's all anonymous, but eventually the threads were grabbed and translated into this manga, which is really, really cool. Sakamoto Desuga is super fun. It's the story of this very, very excellent adult. This is the Mary Sue, and I've talked about him in my Mary Sue videos, where it's super talented and everything that he does perfectly. And the manga is more so about the other characters trying to force him to fail at something, and him just doing like perfectly, and at the same time changing the lives of the other guys. And it's really funny. This is an hard thing to choose because both of these are really good manga in my opinion, and I think I'm gonna go with Sakamoto. Jazz says that it's best. I'm gonna say it's the best. And yes, let's talk more. I've been out of the server, and I need to go back. The vacations didn't help, but I need to go back. So this is 1,000 yen. I gave my life for 1,000. Trading my life for 1,000 yen or whatever. But I don't remember the name. It's too complex. If any of you guys know, just drop it. Versus Robetch. So Robetch is not super famous. I think the mangaka since then has done a more famous manga. That I don't remember the name. I think it's Hana Right. I think it's Hana Right that it's by the same author as Robetch. Robetch was actually my first shoujo, and I really liked it, especially because it was very different from pretty much everything that I was used to from shonen and seinen. Even though romance was different from the rom-coms that I used to read. So for that, it has a special place in my heart. It's not like one of my favorites or anything. 1,000 yen per year. That's what I'm gonna call it, or 10,000 yen per year. was okay. There was some parts of it that I didn't like it, and I thought the ending was decent, but also kind of cringy. So all in all, I'm gonna go with So Badge on this one. Demon Slayer versus Beelzebub. So my life for 10,000 years per year, or 3 Days of Happiness. I've called 3 Days of Happiness the other manga, the first manga of the stream, which is called Our Happy Hours. They're kind of the same thing. Sorry. So yeah, Beelzebub, for those that don't know, it's one of my all-time favorite manga. One of my favorite battle shonens, one of my favorite jump manga. I think it's top 2. It's only like below One Piece. That has a lot to do with just how funny it is, how funny the characters are. I think the mangaka just really does funny manga. Now, Beelzebub, Artball and Elfen, and Hungry Marie, all 3, I really enjoyed all 3 of those. But Beelzebub is of course the best one, especially because it's the only one that has been completed, that was given the time to breathe in. Meanwhile, Demon Slayer is, one of the biggest titles of recent times. It's really good. I have a lot of problems with it, especially with the first part, especially the pacing. But once we get to that final arcs, and once we get to the 3 main characters of Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Inosuke introduced, the manga really gets much better, and I really enjoy it a lot. But not as much as Beelzebub, so yeah. Barakamon versus Shimanami Tasogare. So, the only reason why I'm not just gonna say that the Shimanami Tasogare wins by a landslide is because the ending is a little bit rushed. There's a lot of things that I'd like to see that we don't get to see, because not because the manga itself was cancelled, but because the magazine in which it was running was cancelled, and so the manga never had the chance to fully explore some of the elements that it's going to. So that sucks. So for those that don't know, Shimanami Tasogare is an LGBTQ plus manga, where it's very much about this gay character meeting a lot of other members of the LGBTQ community, asexual person, lesbian couple, another gay, cross-dresser kid, or transgender kid. And it's just kind of like exploring their lives, and the way that they're viewed from the outside. And it's really good manga. I think a lot of people should check out. Barakamon is, as Kami said, super awesome. It's very cute. I really enjoyed pretty much everything that I read of Barakamon, which was everything. And it's not my favorite slice of life. I know that's a lot of people's favorite slice of life. I like my slice of life is a little bit more of story, but Barakamon is great if you want just something to relax. But yeah, to me, I think Shimanami Tasogare is the superior manga of these 2, so it's gonna win. JoJo's Part 5 versus Happiness. I think Mumsy isn't here anymore. I know that he's a massive Part 5 fan. I am not. The battles of Part 5, I think, are very confusing, very weird. Not my favorite. I'd say so far it's my second least favorite part. I still think it's leagues better than Part 1, but versus Part 2, 3, and 4, it just kind of drops. The thing that it does have that I really like of Part 5 is the cast. Like I mentioned, the cast of characters is really interesting. I kind of like the way of the journey they do, but the battles just kind of ruin it for me a little bit. So it's still a decent manga. Still give it a positive note, but not on the level of Happiness. Happiness is a manga I read recently. I know a lot of people who read it with me didn't like it as much, but I did. It's a Noshimi manga. It's really beautiful visually. It's like the visuals are some of the best that I've ever seen in manga. The story, yes, it's not the best. Especially, I think, more so the second half of the manga, not so much the first. I think the first half is really, really cool and engaging. I think the second half is where it loses some people. I still find it interesting, but I can understand why some people don't like it. But I like it more than Part 5, so it's there. Oh, God. Covering the nipple. Sorry. Black Clover versus I don't remember the full name, but it's Lesbian Report, or the Lesbian Diary on Loneliness. This, I could talk about Black Clover. I think I mean, this is an Oshimi work. Yes, it is an Oshimi work. And I could talk about Black Clover. I think I've talked a lot about Black Clover in my videos. I like it. I think it's overrated a lot of the times because a lot of people, I don't see why a lot of people don't like it. I think a lot of people just look at it as a normal battle shonen and just dismiss it, when I feel like that's kind of its strongest point. And I think it's really one of those manga that is just super, super enjoyable. Yes, I'm censoring with the mouse because it's the best I can do. But yeah, the Lesbian Report is a very, very special manga. It's, for those who didn't read it, it's another manga that is based on real life of story told by the mangaka. And it's not so much because of the LGBTQ plus themes that it does have, because it really does have it. This manga says the same, not because it's biased or shoujo and Yuri LGBTQ teams, but it's because it's good, and that's kind of good. It's really good. I think the special thing about it is that it is told by the person, and she shares a lot of the details of her life, not so much as a lesbian, but more so as a person with depression, and how it feels to be lonely, and how it feels to have depression, and how heavy everything is, and how even when people are trying to help, sometimes it just doesn't work just because of how your brain is. And it is a manga that I think everyone should check out, just to have that in mind, just to have that second point of view of what it is to live with those problems. And then, of course, it uses that to connect with how she finds out about her sexuality and her first lesbian encounter and things like that. But it's more so the first thing that I think it really solidifies this manga as a must read for every single person out there. Dalv versus Kami can communicate, which I'm using as the volumes as the structure to all the camera. And yeah, Kami is gonna win this one. I don't like Doubt. For those that have read Doubt, it's kind of like a manga. Manga is what people have been saying it is now. I don't like it. It's one of the worst horror manga that I've read. It's really bad. I like Pupa more. So Kami-san. And Silver Dan. It's here versus it's you guys' fault I'm not popular, which it is. I like the Watamote, which is what I'm gonna call it. I think Watamote gets better, especially in the second half of the manga. It's been a while since I've read the later chapters, but I think the second half gets really good. To me, it reminds me a little bit of Kami-san, in that it is very much a story about this character evolving and gathering friends. But I think the character in Watamote, the main character, just really evolves so much, and the manga evolves with her. So the thing that the manga looks at the first 40 chapters really slowly changes into something better. And the thing is that it feels, it's not that you can just skip to that part. The good part is that going through that evolution and seeing these characters evolve and the other characters evolve, and definitely Watamoto is amazing. I didn't really need to go back to it because I haven't read a single chapter since I think middle of last year. So I'm kind of curious if it's ending or not as well. But yeah, Down to Dan, I've recently checked it out when it came out in Jump Plus, and it completely fell in love with it because it is amazing. It is it is as insane as Chainsaw Man. I think it's sometimes some elements it is more insane. I really love the art style of it. It's really cute. It isn't the same as Chainsaw Man. I think Chainsaw Man kind of fits the story that it's trying to tell. Dan just goes a more clean, more cute art style, but it is, I love it. I just find it super adorable. And the character designs of like the aliens and the monsters and the ghosts are super cool. So yeah, to me, Down the Dan wins. Even though Watamoto is great. Dr. Stone versus isn't Dantadan coming to Jump? It isn't coming to Jump as in sense of Weekly Shonen Jump. It is coming to the Manga Plus app, and I think the Shonen Jump app, but it isn't coming. It has dropped like 3 weeks ago or so. So if you were waiting to read it, you can already. Dr. Stone versus Bonoji. Bonoji is really cute. I'm not sure if many people have read Bonoji. If you are looking for super adorable rom-com, Bonoji is one that you guys should check out. It's super short, super adorable. But Dr. Stone to me is better. I really love Senku. I really love the characters. I really love the story. It's one of my favorite Jump manga. I've said like that like 4 times. But Dr. Stone it is, in terms of like the current ongoings, in terms of like the veterans, Dr. Stone is among my favorites, and I'm kind of sad that it is ending. We've just got the announcement, I think like yesterday or 2 days ago, of the final arc starting, and it kind of makes sense if you're reading Dr. Stone. It really does feel like it is ending, but yeah, that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. We Never Learn versus Ibitsu. Ibitsu is a horror manga that I like. It is fun. It is okay. It is coming to Weekly Shonen Jump. Yeah, props fake news. Yeah, probably what you heard or someone heard and maybe got confused was that it is coming to the Shonen Jump app and the Manga Plus app in English. Yeah, it's not coming to Weekly Shonen Jump, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it is great. Ibitsu is fine. I really like We Never Learn. I think it kind of reminds you of Nisekoi, but it does a different approach. It's a bit more edgy, but I think it has a lot less filler. So a lot of the things that I mentioned about Nisekoi, I think We Never Learn kind of does it better. So to me, this one is a no-brainer. We Never Learn wins. This one is Naruto versus Quintuplets. I'm gonna say I like Quintuplets more. Naruto is really fun. It's one of my favorite anime. It was one of my first anime. One of my first manga. I think it was my first manga that I actually started reading. EB2. I did one in my PTR. If you like horror manga, check EB2. It's not bad. It's not the best. Versus We Never Learn, to me, We Never Learn is one of my favorite rom-coms of recent times. So, yeah, but EB2, if you're planning on reading EB2, just check it out. If you like horror manga, if you like these, a little bit of trashy horror manga. Yeah, Quintuplets, I like the one with the phones, Miku. I don't like Nino. Nino evolves throughout the manga, but I didn't like Nino at the start. I didn't like the Nino at the end. I feel like she evolves too abruptly, so we don't get to appreciate the evolution too much. So I'm really not the biggest fan of Nino. I think she's called Miku, the one with the phones. That is my favorite. It's hard. I'm really bad with names. But yeah, Queen of Bloods. I think I like Queen of Bloods more than I like Naruto. Naruto Best Girl. Miku. Yeah, I think is it Miku? I'm gonna check with you guys. Duplets, characters, names. That's not what I wanted. Miku. Yeah, okay, I was right. It's Miku. You guys are telling me the answer in the chat, but I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah, I like Naruto. It's very special because it is the one anime that I really got me into anime because my friends were into Naruto. So it was a manga that I was reading and watching for a long time and talking with everyone about it. And I have a bag full of the headbands that I have no idea what I'm going to do with it because it was a friend of mine that gave me to it. Like last year was like, oh, I think you were going to like it. And it's kind of like, what am I going to do with this? Whatever. I'm not going to pull them. But yeah. So I have them. If anyone wants a Naruto headband, maybe I'll give you guys to it. But yeah, I like Kingdom Blitz a little bit more overall. Now this is a good match. YKK versus NHK. Welcome to the NHK. I really remember loving the NHK. It was one of the first kind of manga like of that style that I read. Kind of like the Pun Pun before Pun Pun. And my, teen ass self really loved it so much. And I need to go back to it and I need to reread it. YKK is really fun. It's relaxing. It's beautiful. It's a lot of things I said about Girls Last Tour, except it's a bit more soft, I'd say. I'm gonna go with NHK though. Ray and the Grey World, I think that's how this manga is called. And this is Blood Lad, which is a very, very underrated battle shonen that I really, really like. It kind of reminds you of Soul Eater. It's, in my opinion, not as good as Soul Eater, but it is just close. It takes a lot of influence from it. And it's really cool. The characters are fun. It's all about like this kind of like three families of characters. Which it's not obvious that it is at the start, but it kind of evolves into that. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's really cool. The characters are awesome. And right in the Grey World, it's really cute manga. It's really beautiful, really magical. I think the panelings, the art style, just so beautiful. So if you like that kind of style, if you like manga that kind of reads differently, this one is one that you guys should check out. I'm probably gonna go with it just because I really love Blood Lad, but I still, all in all, still think that it is kind of like a Soul Eater, but not as cool. Gintama X Soul Eater is Blood Lad, kind of, yeah, because Blood Lad does a lot of references to other manga as well, and it's more comedic. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ray though. But Blood Lad, if you want to read a battle shonen, read Blood Lad. I don't think you'll regret it. Osamu Game versus the Voynich Hotel. This is another one of many Death King manga that I read. I don't think it's. I find it weird to be in here because to me there's a lot of other Death King manga that are just kind of like on the same level, or just a little bit better. But for some reason, I think this one had an anime. It has a bunch of sequels and it's kind of popular. It's one of the most popular that game manga, and I don't get why, because it's not as good. It's kind of good. It's kind of okay. If you love that game manga, this one's gonna feel your needs, but just okay. It's nothing else. The Voynich Hotel by Damon Salmon is, on the other hand, a very unique manga. Anything by this mangaka just feels different. It has a lot of Western influences to it. It has a lot of weird humor, a lot of weird references, a lot of weird stories, but just super cool. So I'm gonna go with Voynich Hotel. Perhaps you know any Shonen Jump manga that has shoujo ai elements? I don't remember. No, on the top of my head. No, I was gonna say Gravity Boys. Gravity Boys kind of has a lot of shonen ai elements to it because it's a lot of boys going naked and things like that. But shoujo ai, I don't remember. I can't think of any. The best that I can think of really isn't. Is Yui Kamyo Breaks Loose, which has a lot of girls fighting. But I don't think it's shoujo ai. It's not shoujo ai, but I don't think it could really call it shoujo ai. Need to stretch a lot, so I can't think of any that would fit that well. Sorry, I'm doing this with my hands. Look Back versus Blank Canvas is another two manga about mangaka kind of things. But this I think this is where I'm gonna drop Look Back because it is Ayatria's elements. That is true. That is actually true because the main character has is transformed into a girl, so there's a lot of lesbianism happening. So yeah. that is true. Yeah, Look Back is just a one shot. I think overall Blank Canvas has the longest story, and because it's a real life story, it's kind of I think it stays with me more. Look Back is great. Look Back is lovely. It's my favorite one shot manga, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Blank Canvas with this one. And this one, I'm gonna go with Sakamoto just because I think it's more funny. I don't remember so much as much because again, it was my favorite first shoujo. I really liked it at the time. I think I'm still gonna like it if I read it now. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Sakamoto. Yes, there was lesbianism happening. What do you want me to say? And I'm sorry, this one kind of feels wrong to, the Chominami Tasogari, which is an LGBTQ plus manga, to kind of drop it. But Beelzebub is one of my favorite manga. It's funny, it's being there when I needed to laugh, and it makes me laugh every single chapter. And I love Oga, and I love Beal, and I love Hildegard, and I love Furuichi, and my first chapter of Beelzebub is my favorite chapter of all time. I read it when I want to laugh. So, yeah, Beelzebub gonna win. Censoring. This one, I think I'm gonna go with wait, I was stabbed out. I'm not sure which you missed. You killed? No, we haven't reached Dandanan yet. It's fine. We are fine. I'm gonna go with Lesbian Report because, just real life stories about people just hit hard. They just hit hard. Yeah. So I may kill Dan here. Kami-san. I'm not sure because I think what I've read from Dan so far, as a whole, is better than Kami-san as a whole, because I think Kami-san has a lot of chapters where nothing happens, chapters where I just kind of like just move on. Whenever it's about Kami and the main character, which probably can get the name here. I can't. Tadano, yeah, and the Kami, Tadano, and the other girl. Those, whenever it's about these three, it's really great. It's where Kami-sen's at its best. But when it's not, when it's all about these other side characters that nobody cares, no, it's not as good. It really isn't. So I'm gonna go Dan Dan Dan. So yeah, it's over. Dan 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 survives a little bit more. Dr. Stone versus We Never Learn. So, to me, these two are kind of a little bit on the same level. I kind of like Dr. Stone a little bit more. But both of these have two great main characters, just so you know. Dr. Stone. Welcome to NHK versus Quintuplets. Very, very different stories, because I think Quintuplets, NHK is kind of like, it's kind of like the Poon Poon before the Poon Poon. Hey, Big. Okay, have you been here the whole time? Either way, welcome. I'm gonna go with NHK. If you like Poon Poon and you haven't read NHK, if you like those more heavy seinen manga and you haven't read NHK, you guys should read NHK. And I'm gonna go with it, even though Quintuplets is pretty good. And on this one, I'm probably gonna go with The Grey World, just because it is more cute, it is more unique. The Voynich Hotel is interesting. I mean, both of them are super unique. I think Voynich Hotel might actually be the most unique of these two. But yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. Just came along, won't be here for long, just dropped in for a while. We're just finishing, by the way. I'm not sure, yeah, it's past 8 as well, so we're just really finishing. There's probably like more 10-15 minutes, I'm gonna say. Jazz, I'm not sure if you read The Grey World, but that is one manga that you're just gonna love if you haven't yet. I think you have, though. Maybe wrong. Blank Canvas versus Sakamoto Desuga. I'm gonna go with Blank Canvas. Sakamoto Desuga is... I can't speak anymore, but Sakamoto Desuga is fun, but Blank Canvas is more interesting. And yeah, on this one, I'm gonna go with Beelzebub. I'm gonna go with Beelzebub. Should censor this. The manga for maids and maids, so it's superior. The maids are really cool. The maids are really cool. I'm gonna go to Beelzebub though. Again, however, the Lesbian Report is a manga that everyone should read. It's a very special manga about a life of a person. It's kind of hard to just kind of like judge someone's actual life over, fiction. But Beelzebub is just such an important manga to me that I have to put above this one. So yeah, Dan 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 versus Dr. Stone. Sorry, Silver. I'm gonna go with Dr. Stone. I think it just is a fantastic manga, and I love it. Inagaki, Dr. Stone and Eyeshield 21, just both of them are amazing. It really knows how to write manga. Like Battle Shonen, this is like different manga, so yeah, Dr. Stone. And on this note, I'm actually gonna go and pick NHK. I think it is the more solid manga out of these two, even though I think a lot of people will probably like the other one. Run was interesting, loved the art. Only thing that made me be wary was the relationship between Run and the guy, but still killed everything else. So liked everything else about it. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because she turns into an adult, but is still a child. Yeah. Yeah, Blank Canvas versus Beelzebub. So Beelzebub's gonna be ruining everyone. All the real life stories. But yeah, Beelzebub. Dr. Stone versus NHK. I think like Teen Me would probably pick NHK because it was such an important manga for me back then. Right now, as who I am right now, I'm gonna pick Dr. Stone. And we're gonna have Dr. Stone versus Beelzebub. Battle of the Shonans. And this is weird. Sorry. This is a really a close one. But Beelzebub. I'm gonna go with Beelzebub. Dr. Stone, it's amazing. We're still gonna see how it ends because Beelzebub, I think the problem that Beelzebub has is that the ending itself is not really that good. It was a little bit rushed, so I'm hoping Dr. Stone wins it in that regard, but it's really that manga. And the actual final is Dead Demons. Actually, this isn't technically the final, but Dead Demons versus Beelzebub, and in this case, I'm gonna have to go with Dead Demons because I love Asano and I love Dead Demons, and it's one of my all-time favorite manga. So that wins, and I think the actual final, which won't have a bracket, it's Dead Demons versus Dororedoro. And I'm gonna go with Dororedoro on that one. But Dead Demons is kind of like a really close in like my favorites. It's kind of interesting because I've read both of them in the same month. I read the three that I read in the same month. I hadn't read manga for like 2 years or so, and then I read Kami-san. For some reason, the memes just kind of looked interesting, so I read Kami-san, and it got me back into manga. So I read Dororedoro because I saw a picture of it, and it looked interesting. And then I was like, okay, I'm back into manga, so I'm gonna check out the newest Asano manga, which was Dead Demons, and just kind of like these two, Dororedoro and Dead Demons, just were so great that it just kind of like revitalized my love for manga. That's kind of why I'm back here now, because how much I love those two. Because otherwise I probably wouldn't have gone back to manga then. I probably wouldn't have got to manga at least not as much manga as I was in 2019, which got me into Unlist, which got me into making reviews, which got me into making this channel. So yeah, those two are really important to this moment right here. But Dororedoro wins. Would you say that is close to that? No. I like Dead Demons more. Dan is really fun so far, but Dead is the best one. So, and I think I'm gonna stop the stream. Just kind of want to thank everyone that stayed here till now, because it's been like I think it's been 4 hours. It's been like the longest stream by far, and I don't have any voice. And it's been just me talking, which is kind of like can feel a bit lonely, but you guys helped, and I want to thank everyone that just stayed with me since the beginning of the channel, that checked my videos, and that's subscribe and things like that. And I'm not gonna cry because I don't cry, but yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. Now, welcome, Suzy. Welcome. I hope you didn't join because we were just leaving. And thank you, Yubi. And thank you for staying till here. But yeah, hope you guys have fun. And sorry for a long video. Yeah, you guys, I'm gonna leave the stream up so you guys can check it out if you want. Yeah, I'm uploading it so you guys can check it out. Crash stream for when? I kind of wanted to do a Crash 4 stream. That would be cool, but I don't have Crash 4 for the computer. I have from my PlayStation, so I'm not sure I was gonna do that. Yeah. So if you guys don't just wanna see, this is the first bracket. So we got Berserk versus One Piece and Dororo versus Villain Saga in the semifinals. Then we got One Piece versus Dororo, then Dororo won. And then I made another tournament which had the Asano manga Pun Pun versus Dead Demons. And I like Dead Demons more, for those that don't know. And we had Beelzebub versus Dr. Stone, that I like Beelzebub more, but Dead Demons won. And so Dororo versus Dead Demons, and Dororo wins. And by the way, if you guys want to join the Discord server, which I do have a Discord server, the link is in the description. And it's a little bit inactive right now, but there's few people, but you know, they talk, and they have a lot of people that are really into manga, that know manga way more than I do, like Nephilim and Yube, which is on the stream right now as well. And there's a lot of like Shonen Jump fans as well, so you know, just join us. It's gonna be fun. And yeah, I'm gonna drop the stream here. Thank everyone, and yeah, see you around. I don't know how to close it.